Grainger offers over 1 million high-quality products, from motors and belts to switches and sensors, helping maintenance engineers keep production lines moving. Call, click, or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's 6 o'clock. We're just go live.
Go.
I'm like, are you ready? She's like, yeah, are you ready? Okay.
Okay.
Call my bluff there, Lynette. Or no, sorry, Lizette. Is that what we're calling you now? No, she doesn't want to talk about that. That's fine.
You're listening to WJOB 1230 AM 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana, but broadcasting from the surface of the sun.
No, I was going to say, Bob, you did say, you're like, hey, it's summertime, we should do a remote. Jim's like, the best I can do is turn the heat up to 82 degrees.
Oh, my God. It is 82 degrees in here, people. They said, we don't want to...
You said remotes are expensive, so I'll turn the heat
There's
up.
no zones in the building, so if we turn on the air for our little studio, we then cool all 4,000 or 5,000 feet of this place, and that just makes a high NIPSCO bill.
Yeah, so you just open. We're sponsored by NIPSCO. You think they'd be like, yeah, we'll cut you a break on the air conditioning.
But you know what is also expensive? As I said, the FCC fines for the bad words I say when the fat guy gets hot. So we'll balance that out after the show. Good morning, everyone.
Hi. It's been a while since you've been here. I feel like you're like a guest.
I think it's been 3 or 4 weeks since I've been on Monday. I wasn't here at all last week. And I come in. It's 82 degrees in here. There are crumbs all over. There were crumbs all over the chairs. I took pictures of it.
Yeah, you could tell Jim was here because there was chips and salsa all over the place.
Yeah.
He was here working late last night. I'm going to get that text saying, stop talking about us.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. 6:01. Traffic and weather. Traffic looking fantastic this morning. 80-94, 65 Sky, we're told. Everything is looking good. There is some construction happening. I guess is it south of 80-94 on Klein. So if you're out that way, let us know how that's affecting traffic. On the Illinois side, not much going on. Bishop Ford into the Dan Ryan, good. Dan Ryan on into the city, looking good. 80 through 294. 394, all the 94s looking good. The only thing, if you're one of those people that's coming up 57 had an earlier accident, but for most people that shouldn't affect you. But 57 into the merge, slow due to an earlier accident. Other than that, traffic looking fantastic. How about the weather? We know it's hot. Other than that.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 71 degrees with highs of 81 and lows of 69. We're going to have some cloudiness and going to be humid with a thunderstorm or two this afternoon. And then tomorrow on Tuesday, we'll be having highs of 88 and lows of 71 with some cloudiness and a thunderstorm. Should be warmer and humid. And then Wednesday, we'll be having highs of 92 and lows of 71 with some cloudiness, breezy, hot, and humid with a thunderstorm.
Thank you, Leanne. I could.
Sorry about that. That's funny.
No, it was funny. No, she gave me that both. She wanted to smile, but she knew she couldn't give it to me. She's like, I can't give it to him, but that was funny. Okay.
Yeah, it was. She.
No, what were they calling you on Friday? Was it Lizette? Like,
no, it was Brent. He said Lisette.
Brett.
Which is actually one of my cousin's names.
Well, that's like, he's from the South. He's like, that's New Orleans. That's just,
yeah.
They call him Brett, by the way. He's Brett.
Yeah.
Did I say Brett?
No, Mad Mac always calls him Brett. So when I see him, hi, Brett. By the way, Brett did feed us yesterday. We're out at the amphitheater. I called him like, hey, we're hungry. He said, come on by. We'll take care of you.
Oh, good.
So,
good.
But you'll get the bill next week.
I'm sure. The amount of bills that are rolling in. But we've got money for it. So
still under budget. Hey, thank you to the staff. Don't start with me. Don't start with. I literally was about to. Don't start with me. It's funny. Okay.
219-845-1100.
I don't even know if that works. Let's set up the show real quick.
Okay.
We are doing something I'm not a fan of. We are doing like real radio today. We've got a bunch of guests like back to back. We've got the lieutenant governor calling in. We've got our friends from, is it Fox Point? Fox Point coming in to talk about the amphitheater, which I mean, my whole life now, just amphitheaters. Everywhere I look, amphitheater.
Except in Dyer, where it's a pavilion.
And then we've got Brian Calley's calling in, documentarian. He's been in before to talk about, he didn't mean to. He's basically just doing documentaries talking about how bad things are in Illinois, which is going to be the topic of today, because obviously everybody wants to talk about the Bears. So we'll find some time to shoehorn that in. I think the lieutenant governor wants to call in, take a victory lap. We'll let him do that. And, I mean, again, it was funny because I was talking to Jim. If you listened on Friday, he did he was going to break in and do like 10 minutes, which became 2 hours. And he basically said, he's like, today is our day to celebrate. He's like, today is our day. He's like the Goonies. He's like, today, this is our time. And he did not want to have any discussion. He just wanted to talk about the good things, which is fine. I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to let you have your discussion about how great it's going to be. I heard the word transformational 1,287 times on Friday from everybody. That's fantastic. Transformation. I was talking to our friend Rob Kendall. The interview is going to air later today. I said, Rob, Ronald Reagan once said that the 9 scariest words. I said, I'm nominating a 10th word to that list. Transformational. Whenever I hear transformational 1,000 times in a day, my spidey senses start tingling in overdrive. We're going to talk about that because obviously everybody's celebrating. Cool. I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to let you celebrate. I'm going to let you have your victory lap. But we're coming back to reality today on Monday. We're going to talk about both sides of the story because that's what we do here in the region. Everybody says, oh, it's cheerleaders. Everything's transformational. Nobody wants to talk, right, especially during election time. Nobody wants to talk about the downside. I've spent the weekend fielding texts from people that live in the neighborhood. They're concerned. Am I losing my house? What's this mean for property values? All the reality of this, the real stakeholders here. I'm a business owner in that neighborhood. We had discussions about how this is going to affect our business, neighboring businesses. We've talked about it. I mean, again, you sit here and go, oh, this is great. The Bear, like there are real ramifications to this. And I have a responsibility as the one, glass half empty on fire kind of person around here to talk about both sides of the issue. But if you want to talk about how great it is, fine. But we're going to talk about both sides because there are real ramifications and real people being impacted. Just like the train, 150 families lost their homes while everybody was celebrating the train. So remember that there are real ramifications of people here in the region. Let's take some phone calls. Good morning, caller. You were on the air.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
I'm good, sir.
Oh, we are so good. And we are #blessed to have you call in today. What a great morning. How are you?
Yeah, I had to hang up last week and change back to my other station because when I sit here on hold for 30 minutes, it's time for a change of station, But let's talk about June 5th. 7 people in a fight at the Hobart Festival. June 6th, disturbance at Market Park Beach. Kids and people fighting and standing on cars. June 7th, Whiting Beach closed. I had so many offline comments come to me and questions talk to me about filming festivals and stuff this year. I got to be very careful. I mean, I like to hear from Lake County sheriffs or your local police departments. The friend that I brought coming back from the drag strip yesterday, he had some kind of announcement that there's canceling the Cedar Lake Festival or something.
No, the Cedar Lake thing is, there's a different thing going on. It's like, this is like one of those, there's something going on with the Cedar Lake Festival. They did put out a statement. It has to do with one of the performers. This is not about a teen takeover. There's a question about one of the performers, and but again, I don't want to get into that, but you can find it on Facebook. Go ahead.
The thing I'm wondering is the Lake County sheriffs and local police departments, these people that are coming over here or from here causing disturbance, are they going to arrest them, or if they're teenagers, are they going to have their parents charges against these parents? Are they going to calm all this stupidity going on at Market Park in Miller? Because now they're going to have that air show and the fireworks on Friday. They're going to have all these festivals. How safe is it going to be to go to one of these festivals? You know, people are asking me offline, okay, what festivals do you think safe to go to?
Right.
I said, I have no idea because,
Go ahead.
you know,
Go ahead, Bob. Bob wants to do it. Go ahead.
Just like
Go ahead. You can do it. Hang on. Go ahead. It's funny to do it. Go ahead.
Dyers.
yeah, so, you know, that's
June
what I'm
11th,
curious.
June
I
10th,
I'd
the
like
12th.
I'd like the Lake County Sheriff to call in.
Okay. Well,
Or
here's the thing.
police departments
So let's.
explain what they're going to do. What they're going to do about if these people cause a problem. Are they going to just slap them on the wrist and let them go?
Well,
Or are they gonna-
our plan
they do a
is
disturbance.
if you
Foam.
are
Just spray everybody with foam.
well, I mean, if there's
Foam
if
cannons.
there's a group of them walking over the Calumet Avenue Bridge, that's intent, and we will arrest you, and that's you know, but rioting.
Well, okay. So
Because you can do that now, and some of these other we'll say wussy jurisdictions. No, we have a zero tolerance policy towards stupid and dire. None of our
that should be on your
officers-
T-shirts.
None of our officers, we don't allow any vacation time over our fest. We have designed it in a way where it is one way in, one way out. It's bottleneck coming in. It's like Fort Knox. We're in the middle of a field, so we'll be able to see anybody coming. And I got to be honest with you, I don't necessarily care how it looks. If you pull up to our fest and you look like you're going to cause trouble, if you pull up to the fest and your car smells like weed, we're just going to turn you around. Our officers are going to be at the front of the line as the cars come in.
So
Zero tolerance.
If you haven't made those security T-shirts yet, put that on the shirt.
Yeah.
Zero tolerance for stupidity. Well, here's the thing, though, Trucker
just-
Mike. Though, again, this is not unique to the region. This is not unique to certain neighborhoods. This is something that's been happening. During Florida, I was watching some of the footage during spring break. There was all kinds of chaos, on the beaches down there. There was just an article about teen takeover in Florida that like they're trying to take over the beaches. We have teen takeovers in Chicago, Lower Wacker Drive, certain neighborhoods. People are getting run over. Police are being hit by cars when they're scattering from these takeovers. So I mean, again, it's something that's not unique to any one area or neighborhood or anything like that. But it's like you said, it's something that needs to be dealt with. And I think Bob's approach, at the very least, is the right way to address it. Like, hey, we're not putting up with this. We're not, this
Yeah.
is one of the things that my wife deals with a lot at the prosecutor's office is people come here from Chicago or Illinois and they assume we are soft on crime. And then when they get arrested, they go, what are you doing? It's like, no, you're not in Cook County. We will arrest you. We will prosecute you.
And I had a handful of people on the community pages, especially in Dyer, talking about it because it's kind of the buzz of, hey, what are you guys doing? Now, some of the stuff, frankly, I'm not going to talk about only because we're not going to talk about that. It's a security measure. We're not going to. But I will say that we've got our department. We will have the county sheriff on hand. We have material assistance from the Department of Homeland Security. We have
I'm getting serious.
We will have drones, aerial cameras, LPRs. Speaking of buzzwords for Chuck,
In case one of those happens to fall over, it wasn't me and my Sawzall. But no, I mean,
that's what we're going to do.
Snipers with paintball guns.
Because
just mark everybody.
This is
And then
a safe event.
I want to switch to one thing because yesterday when I was down at the track recording, one of my friend's son is with the United Steelworkers 7-1 on the lockout at BP. And we were talking, and he's in the
Bob's
process
running to
of
make
trying
some
to figure
pina
out what
coladas.
career-
Get extra coconut for me.
Yeah, he's
Go ahead. Sorry.
he's probably turning on the air conditioner.
Well, he was.
Well, anyhow,
We got to order some of those little neck fans from Sharper Image. You guys ever use those? I saw
but
somebody
we were
using one of those
talking
the other day. I gotta
yesterday
get one of those.
about the lockout at BP. Well, coming back from the track, Route 30 and 41, the BP gas station has BP, British Petroleum. Their gas was $2.99 a gallon yesterday coming back. I was almost thinking about going in there and just top off my tank, but when it said BP as how they're treating the union workers on the lockout. No, I'll go ahead and pay my $3.19, which I'm not happy at paying for, but I'm not going to go to that gas station and because them greedy buttheads from BP treating the lockouts. But my friend's son.
Well, also
out,
just remember that's independent.
Listen to this.
But this is just real quick before you put it out. Go. It's independent. Those are independently family-owned gas stations, not necessarily owned by BP. Just go ahead.
Right. But they just released unemployment checks for his son. He was telling me how much they were getting and everything, and it doesn't come up to much. He's in the process of thinking which career to go to because he says a lot of the guys are mad because Ed Schultz hasn't come out with a statement yet, or hardly nothing's going on with negotiations, and a lot of them getting fed up have to come out. They're standing on that line, and they're trying to feed their families. They're not going to events. They can't do much now. Simple reason because they're on a tight budget. They're trying to pay their bills, and says it's about time that we've got to. He says, I want to stay in the union, but he says if they ain't going to start getting something done or putting me somewhere to work, he says I've got to look for a different career. He says Ed Schultz, we need to get him back on here and explain. What are they going to do with the lockout guys? Are they going to put them to work, or are they going to have to stand there and then suffer and starve?
Well, and that would be an absolute tragedy if you lose all of that experience in the process. And that's a lot of what's going to happen. You're going to lose the experience of the people that know what they're doing, and that's going to make things inherently less safe for the region. So, but hey, we do have to go, Trucker Mike. So go ahead, finish up.
Yeah. Well, you guys have a nice warm day.
Oh, we will.
It's 70. It's nice and cool in the house here today in my lazy boy chair with a cup of coffee, so it's kind of cool watching you.
It's cool. That's cool. Yeah, at least somebody's cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. No, I was just saying. I think we look orange on the camera because I think we have those lights on.
Yeah, you guys slowly turned very yellow.
Can you go hit that switch and see if that fixes the light switch on the wall? I think it's a white here. Let me hold up some white. Let me see. Are we set to auto white? See, let's see if it works.
Well, that one you have to manually do the white balance, right?
Okay. Well, hit the AWB button. Is there one of those on the remote? Here, I'm gonna hold this. I'll hold some paper up.
And all the cameras are not the cameras. All the lights are.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So
let's
see if we can auto white balance. No, it's not set. Okay. Well, anyway,
we're extremely tan. That's how hot it is in here.
We've turned orange.
Trump orange.
So Lieutenant Governor calling in a little bit. So we've taken your phone calls in the meantime. Obviously, yeah. So the teen takeover thing, a big issue. Again, like I was in Munster.
Can I say one thing about that?
Well, you can, but let me finish my thought. We'll take turns. So when I was in Munster, for instance, you had, St. Thomas More, their festival. They had to increase security over time. There was a shooting not too far away after the event, and so they got to the point where they essentially said, you know what, we're going to change the way we do this because we're attracting the wrong crowd. We're attracting younger people that are causing problems. So we're just going to change our festival. And that's unfortunate because that was, a big part of the community to have that nice festival where we could take the kids and have rides. And it's sad that things have to change because they're worried about security. So go ahead, Bob.
Oh, my turn now?
Yes.
Oh, it's exciting. So, yes, we have weekly meetings of this big fest we have coming up this week, June 11th to 14th, Dyer Central Park, Parkside Pavilion. Come on out. It'll be a great time. And, of course, one of our concerns is always, look, you cannot control everything, and all it takes is one bad incident. But you take a look at our friends in Schererville, and they have just year after year, the last several years, of things happening. I don't think I don't know. I'm not going to say it's planning. It's where it's at, I think, is a problem. There's no way to control crowds coming in and out. You're having a huge fest in a subdivision. We used to have that in Dyer over at Pheasant Hills, and it just, not only did we have Central Park, did we want to use that, but you need to have space. Some of these places, like St. Thomas More, it was all in a parking lot. Everybody was condensed and compact. And there wasn't anything you can do about it. So it's something we talk about every time. And admittedly, I mean, we're nervous about it, again, because there's nothing we can prepare as much as possible, and something could still always happen. And
Right.
but we really are doing everything that that we can. And every time we knock on wood that nothing happens. But I got to tell you, you know, you can scroll on Facebook and find the reels of, you know, those big macho guys saying, oh, you know, try that in a small town, blah, 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 you know, all that stupid stuff. But I got to tell you, we're really honest when we say zero tolerance to stupid. And if you want to have a press conference later on that says, oh, Dyer was mean to our straight A kids who just wanted to come over the hill and knock over, you know, families in the carnival, you know, yeah, go ahead and hold that press conference that we were mean.
The question I have, though, is that, and we've had incidents like in St. John, somebody lit off a firework in the middle of the carnival, and, you know, chaos ensued. And and the social media grabbed onto it and made it something it wasn't. I was like, I was standing there, I saw it all go down. I can tell you what happened. And so, look, it happens. But I guess the question is
and the problem is then once that happens on social media, then the correct story that comes out never gets the same traction as, oh, you know, bomb over there.
But the question is this like a TikTok thing? Is this like, hey, I want to make a TikTok of us causing trouble? Is this just because, you know, the next generation is, you know, old man yells at cloud, kids are jerks? Like, what is causing this? I mean, I say the same thing about why I don't go to the movie theater or anything like that. Is like, look, we are surrounded by entitled jerks. I'm about to go to the city, and, you know, everybody absolutely thinks they are more important than everybody else. There's people driving on the shoulder doing 90 miles an hour in traffic. There are people that will make 5 lanes out of 2. I mean, we live in an area with entitled jerks, and I don't know what we do about it. And then those entitled jerks have kids and say, no, you're my baby. You can be an entitled jerk. I mean, and that's the reality, and that's the world that we are creating. And so, like, you know, when you say try that in a small town, like, to me, I'm like, just get away from major cities, because everybody's a self-centered jerk. And so that's the reality of having large events, is you never know who's going to come and what their intentions are. And, you know, it used to be harmless pranks. It used to be, oh, we're gonna break a stink bomb, you know, in the hallway. Now it's like we're gonna blow stuff up. You know, it's gone from harmless pranks, and now we're gonna do things that have serious consequences. So why don't we take a break? I know we got phone calls. Let's take our break, stay on time, and we'll take your phone calls 219-845-1100 after these messages. We'll be right.
For over 100 years, Roofers Local 26 has been keeping Northwest Indiana dry and safe. Since 1919, our highly trained members have built a reputation for skills, safety, and reliability. With a 4-year apprenticeship and certifications in OSHA safety, first aid, and CPR, we deliver quality you can trust. When you need roofing done right, choose Roofers Local 26, protecting what matters most for over a century. For more information, visit www.roofers26.com.
Introducing Powers Health, a health system with a new name and a strong legacy of caring for families in our community. One with a tradition of advanced specialized services and a vision for the future. One with a commitment to medical excellence and compassionate care. Everything we do, everything we believe, Powers Health.
When your home needs help, the last thing you need is a faceless corporation or sales-driven franchise. At Myers Companies, we've been proudly local since 1951, born and raised right here in Northwest Indiana. We're family-owned and operated, built on trust, hard work, and integrity. And because we're family, we treat you like family. Your comfort and safety always come first. For HVAC, plumbing, and electrical done right, choose Myers Companies. Local, family-owned, here for your family.
Ogren Insurance, Hammond's oldest family-owned independent insurance agency, now in its 3rd generation, providing clients in the Chicago area with products from quality insurance companies to handle your every need. Regardless of driving history, Ogren Insurance can find the right coverage for you at competitive prices. To learn more about the insurance solutions and services we offer throughout Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan, call 219-933-0076 or visit our website, ogreninsurance.com. We're located at 6929 Homan Avenue in Hammond, Indiana. Do business locally with someone you know and trust.
Hey, we're back. So what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. Now, go ahead and put us on YouTube. It's fine. So you guys, everybody on YouTube, we're going to do this democratically. We're going to let YouTube, I'm going to adjust the white balance live, and then you guys are going to go thumbs up, thumbs down. See, so I'm going to adjust it. But the problem is there's a 10-second delay. So that's
no, there isn't. Now that we're flaming through.
Okay.
It's that hot in here. Now that we're streaming through this Zabblezoot instead of no, that's
see that I think that looks better though. I'm going to leave that up. You guys tell me. Thumbs up.
Looks good.
Okay.
There is no delay. Look, I can look. There's no delay now.
Do that again.
Yeah, see, no delay. Whoa.
See how uncomfortably close we can get. That's a pretty good zoom lens.
Oh,
we know we can do that.
Stay right there. Stay right there.
Okay,
go back.
hang on. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead. You can show off.
That is me and Nicolas Cage.
See, he's starting to look like Christopher Walken. Do you notice that?
Me and Nicolas Cage. I tell you, he was.
Well, it looks like the background is moving on your phone.
Oh, really? Wow.
Hang on. That's the.
There we go.
There you go. Okay.
Look at that.
All right, Jim's getting mad.
Oh yeah, no, good. This is. Tell him we've known each other long enough. He can't fire me, so it's fine. He will come storming in here on his little bicycle.
Someone said wax museum. Yes, in here it would be a terrible wax museum. No, someone. He was extremely kind, very generous. He really had this eccentric Hollywood aura about him. This is what you get when you don't turn on the air. You get silliness. Anyway, so while he's working with the camera doing the white balance, I do want to complain about something. The shenanigans in L.A.
Uh-oh.
I know we're a.
Well, okay.
We're a local. No.
We can talk about. I was going to save it for the governor, but the lieutenant governor.
We could talk about it then too.
Okay, we can talk about it. Go ahead.
But the fact that we are, I think, 7 days out of the election. And they're still counting ballots until they got exactly what they wanted.
If I could, I would find the Hanky Panky song from the dearly departed preacher, because with Mayor Rudy, it was a great song. It's somewhere here in our archives. We have to find it. He says, "Do you guys have nothing to talk?" No, Jim, we have nothing to talk about except for how hot it is in here. He wants to talk about data centers.
No, we're not.
Well, Jim, you should come in and do your own show sometime. You can come in tomorrow and do a show. You did 2 hours on Friday. You can come back on Tuesday. You can come back on Thursday. There's plenty of time on Thursday. Come back and join Bob on Friday.
I don't know what the issue with data centers is.
Okay. So
I really
let's save data centers for another. Let's do another segment on that because I agree on that. But you want to get back to LA? Let's talk about LA because this is. Go ahead. You want to tell the story real quick?
Well,
I'll pull it up.
So it's.
So that's how the camera's supposed to be set.
Yeah, but now you cut off all the good stuff.
Yeah, you cut off my. There you go. Okay, so. So here, let's pull this up from the LA Times. Nithya Raman surges past Spencer Pratt in the LA mayor's race, closing in on runoff with Karen Bass. So essentially what they have in California, they have what's called the jungle primary, where when nobody gets 50%, they do a runoff election. So at one point, Karen Bass was in the lead. Spencer Pratt was in second. Nithya Raman was, I would safely say, like in a distant third.
Very distant.
When the polls closed for voting. The mail-in ballots that continue to be accepted through tomorrow say the trend favors Raman moving into the November 3rd runoff with incumbent Karen Bass. So essentially, again, this is one of those, our experts could not have predicted this, although they did. This is one of those things where statistically speaking, it does not make sense. Again, I've been following.
It's impossible.
Well, I'm trying to be fair here.
Okay.
Statistically speaking, what just happened does not happen. This idea that you have three candidates and 24,000 ballots can be counted and one of the candidates doesn't get a single vote tally for them. I mean, again, it's statistically impossible. And so this idea that, but here's the thing though, and coming off of what's happening with the Bears, coming off of Zoran Mondani, that I fully expect that Nithya Raman will probably be somehow or another will become the next mayor of LA, because LA looks at what's happening in New York and goes, oh no, you're not going to out socialist us. How dare you? But it's funny to see
I think she's the spoiler. I think she's the spoiler just to get Spencer Pratt off the ballot.
Well, remember, she accused the two of them of working together, and they hated each other. But, I mean, this idea that they're celebrating, so, I mean, the left is sort of saying, well, we finally are going to get rid of Spencer Pratt. I mean, the one guy, I followed this race pretty closely because, again, this is a city that needs a lot of help. It has lots of problems between the wildfires, the homeless, the drug problem, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm always curious when you see these races, who's got ideas and who's got lip service. And Spencer Pratt, honestly, was the only one that had real plans to fix it. Karen Bass wasn't even there when the fire happened. She has no real plans. Nithya Raman is just like, hey, let's just spend more money on the problem because that always solves it. There's no real plans between the two of them. And this idea that people would celebrate, oh, Spencer Pratt lost, we got him, he's leaving. Like, cool. Cool. You run off the one guy that has a plan and actually is from there and wants to fix the problem. Congratulations. Like that. But again, and I always tell these people, I said, just do me a favor. No matter how bad things get because of the consequences of your actions, the consequences of your voting, please don't move to Texas. If you're in Illinois, please don't move to Indiana. Like, you had your chance. You voted for this. Okay, come on in. Come on in. There's a seat for you. Huh? Come on in.
We're talking L.A.
We're talking about L.A. I mean, look, I tell people in Chicago all the time, I'm like, no matter what happens, don't come here. You had your chance. You voted for this mess. You take it, right?
What I will say about that is...
hang on real quick. Whatever you just adjusted, it made the noise go away. Was that your headset? Okay, so that's a lot of the noise is coming from that channel. Okay. We'll deal with that later. Oh, okay, that might be it, because it suddenly got really quiet and all the noise went away. Okay.
Anecdotally, what we found is, because we always say, hey, don't bring your Illinois to Indiana. You moved here for a reason. We're finding a vast majority of the folks, again, here goes Bob talking about Dyer again, but that's what I know. A vast majority of the folks that are moving from Illinois are the ones who are looking to escape that, and they're not voting as the...
Right. But also what you see, though, is that the people that are coming here also have coming off of several generations of living in that environment.
Well, there is one thing we get a lot, and that's, hey, why don't you guys do this or that or any of these systems? Because, one, you don't need that, and two, we'd have to charge you for it, and that makes taxes go up, and it's a dust.
I always quote this woman that was in the Times comment section, 15 years ago. She said, I moved to Indiana for the lower taxes. I'm moving back to Illinois because they have more services. And I go, yeah, exactly. That's how it's supposed to work. Yeah. If you want to go somewhere with more programs, I mean, that's Nithya Raman. More programs, more Leering centers, more hospice care that doesn't do anything, more programs to steal more of you. That's the plan. That is her plan. More programs, more spending. Illinois, $56 billion budget. And that's all they kept saying is, we're going to have more money for programs. We're not going to investigate those programs. We're not going to make them more efficient. More money for programs. That the biggest budget ever. More taxes. They're taxing clouds. They're taxing air. They're taxing Netflix. You have it. They tax it, and it's going to programs. What segment would you like us to talk about, Jim? Come on in. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about? There's nothing to work about. It's working. Don't break it. What's not? Well, we're taking calls. Let's take some calls. Okay, good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that the Bears are coming to Indiana.
I see. Well, somebody asked me over the weekend. I think we're at 60-40. I think this announcement on Friday was the tipping point. So I think the big money, if you had to right now, I'd say we're 60-40. But again, as well as I do, Walt, Illinois loves to come in with these last minute plans. So, I mean, it was interesting to me to hear J.B. Pritzker talk about, for instance, not giving money to billionaires and like this is basically, Illinois does not just throws money at everything except for this one thing that they've decided. That was my joke the other day. I said, do you think J.B. Pritzker saw the three ghosts the other day? No, he did not. He did not see the light. This is the one single issue that Illinois is being fiscally conservative on in the last 50 years. I'm not buying it. And they're talking about, subsidies for data centers. So Illinois is one of those states, they're throwing so much money at data centers. And then a few years later they go, maybe maybe that was a bad idea. Maybe we won't subsidize data centers. So, I mean, again, this is a state that just doesn't know what it's doing. It can't figure it out. Everything they're doing is paying lip service to, the people that are voting for them. So, I mean, what do you anticipate happens, Walt? I anticipate some last minute deal worth billions and billions of dollars, and Chicago Bears just say, we can't turn this down.
Here's the out of the yesterday's Chicago Sun-Times. Bears blame game. And then the little print says, no one will escape blame if proposed move to Hammond comes to fruition. Now, the Chicago Tribune, in fine print, they had a line in there about how the wording of the Bears was very careful. So if they ended up doing something other than what they're saying now. So that's Illinois. I mean, never forget a couple of things about Illinois and Chicago. Chicago has been declared over and over again the most corrupt big city in America.
Right.
And Illinois is the third most corrupt state in America.
And they have the highest property taxes tied with New Jersey. I mean, most taxes, biggest budget per taxpayer. I mean, everything about the state. I mean, you know about the bond payments. They're foregoing their pension payments. I mean, they have created such a time bomb that there is no getting out of that.
And when it comes to Illinois people moving, when I left the military back in the 70s, I moved into a suburb of Chicago. And when we first arrived there, it was really a terrific place. It was quiet, it was peaceful, taxes were low, city services were outstanding. There was a metro station. We only had one car, so it was nice that I could just walk to the metro station, which is just like 3 blocks away, and go into downtown Chicago and do a job kind of thing. But eventually, people started flooding out of Chicago, and they came to this suburb. First, just few in the beginning. And, that suburb is no longer a paradise. It's high crime, high taxes, the value of real estate plummeted, and it's just, it's nice that the Illinois people you get have learned the lesson, and they don't want to return Chicago or a Chicago suburb to Indiana. But there's a certain element that I believe are coming to Indiana specifically to turn Indiana and this area into another Illinois.
Well, I want to read this statement real quick. I mean, of all the egregious statements, I think this one from House Speaker Emanuel Welch from Illinois is probably the most egregious. He says, the bipartisan legislation reflected our belief that we can incentivize statewide development and provide tax relief for working people. While Indiana is willing to raise taxes and promise $1 billion in taxpayer funds, Illinois has focused on the needs of working families who want relief at the gas pump, the store, and on their insurance bills, not taxpayer-funded stadiums. Meanwhile, they have raised taxes on literally everything across the board, $56 billion budget. So on one hand, he's saying, well, we did this. We did not pass a bill for the Bears because we care about working class families. Meanwhile, we just gave you some of the biggest tax increases in history. Right. I mean, it is so egregious that they would do this. But the problem is, and like I keep saying, I no longer blame the politicians. I blame the voters because they keep getting sucked into this. I mean, mind you, this is coming off of 50 years of Michael Madigan and all these other things in Illinois. Later on, we're going to have a documentarian come on to talk about the third airport debacle down at Peatone. He did a whole documentary about that debuts next week. I mean, again, this is one of those things like it just becomes comical how bad Illinois is at running their state, yet they still keep getting reelected.
Yep. I worked with in Chicago for 40 years, and one thing that astounded me from the very beginning was how tolerant Chicagoans are of this kind of corruption.
Right.
To even to bring it up on a rare occasion, like, I mean, Jesus, corruption is bad.
Well, here's the thing, though, Walt.
This can't be good. And their reaction is look at you like you're crazy. What are you talking about?
Here's the thing, though, Walt. I want to ask you. I want to ask Bob this question. So here's the thing. I was talking to somebody about this over the weekend. I'm doing, the rounds at the parties and whatnot. And I was saying, you know, the thing is, there are people in the world like you and I and Bob that we follow politics. This is what we do, politics day in and day out. But there's also a large segment of the population. Their life is football. Their life is sports. They care about sports like we care about politics. And so this moment in time that Chicago has lost the Bears, Illinois is losing the Bears potentially. Is this the moment that the average Joe Sixpack, that all he does is watch sports, that he's going to stop and go, wait a second, why are we losing the Bears? What's happening here? Why are they moving to Indiana? Why is Indiana, again, we're going to have Lieutenant Governor on. He's going to talk about our tax surplus. He's going to talk about our balanced budget. That the average Joe Sixpack football watcher is going to say, wait a second, why is this happening? And are they going to start paying closer attention to their local level politics and not just, you know, everything Trump, Trump, Trump? They're going to start asking themselves, why are things this bad? Why did we lose the Bears? Will this be sort of a shift where the average Joe Sixpack is paying attention to politics? Thoughts? I mean, what do you think?
That's
I mean,
a nice thought.
I'm just saying,
I'm
like,
not confident.
You know, again, it's like one of those things you put up with so much your entire life, but finally you're like, you know, I was watching some interviews outside the stadium. People were outraged. They said, we're never going to watch again. We're not going to go to Indiana to see them. But I mean, this has to be a moment where the average Joe Sixpack in Chicago says, wait a second, what's happening here that we're losing the Bears? Why are things so much better in Indiana that they can afford to do this and we can't? Why is my mayor not going after keeping the Bears? Why is my state legislature just letting them go? So I don't know. Maybe it will be a shift. Maybe it's too little too late. I don't know. But hey, Walt, we do have to take a break. Appreciate the call. Bob, do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, will this be that moment that the average Joe starts going, wait a second, what's going on here?
No.
Okay. With that, let's take a break. We'll be back with more after this.
Summer's coming, and Deep River Water Park is taking applications for all positions. We have jobs both inside and out for all ages that offer great benefits. Free admission on your day off for you and a friend. Free uniforms, paid training, make new friends, flexible scheduling, and more. To apply, just go to deepriverwaterpark.com and you're on your way to a summer of rewarding fun.
Deep River Water Park. It's simply splash-tastic.
From the gas in your car to the heat in your home and the roads that you drive on, our work powers daily life. We are USW Local 71, the proud men and women of the Whiting Refinery. We're not just refinery workers. We're your friends and neighbors, raising our families here, shopping in the same stores, and cheering in the same stands. USW Local 71, powering the region because we are the region.
Life's biggest challenges don't come with a warning. When legal issues arise, whether it's a car accident, personal injury, criminal charge, or representing you before municipal boards, you need a trusted advocate on your side. At Westland & Bennett, we listen first because your story matters. We provide strategic, personalized legal solutions to protect your rights, your freedom, and your future. Peace of mind starts with a conversation. Call 219-440-7550 today for a free consultation.
It's the simplest expression. The smallest thing that changes everything. A smile. So easy. A smile lights it up. Apologizes. And welcomes unconditionally. Because the shortest distance between two people is a smile.
Thank you.
Strachan Van Til, where making life easier starts with a smile.
Burpee cult. Whatever your dream, a Squarespace domain and website is how you go from
Can we put see, you framed it for him and then he walked out. He left his coffee mug. Here, just frame his coffee mug. Okay, so Lizette, our friend Jim says this isn't interesting radio. He's like, no, the people don't want to hear you guys complain about how hot it is in the studio. I think it's... Did that just happen? The door just slammed shut on its own.
It did.
Okay, so yeah, just frame it. See, I think that the people. Oh, okay. I think that the people of the region find this entertaining and endearing.
I would definitely
Jim
say
says,
endearing.
just do real radio. Like that's why you have NPR and news radio. They tune. If you want real radio, go listen to NPR. We are here to have fun. That's a long time, but a short time. What's that saying about a good time? I think we could put a poll up. So Lynette, put up a poll that said, do you enjoy what we call the behind the scenes, the insider baseball of WG? Do you enjoy us complaining about the heat? Jim says don't talk about it. Jim says don't talk about any of the issues.
I don't mind you talking about
Your mic's not on.
I don't mind you talking about it, but I'm sitting there waiting. You've been ripping on the stadium idea and the Bears for weeks. And I turn on and I'm like, I want to hear what he has to say.
But remember, I got to get warmed up. It's like the car. You don't turn the car on and jump on the highway. You need to let it, sputter a little bit. You need to let it warm up in the driveway. You don't just go to 100.
Basically, we need 45 minutes of Chuck sizzling before we start
I need
cooking.
to warm up a little bit. Yeah, I need to warm up the pipes. But yes, the lieutenant governor's calling in. He's going to take his victory lap. You guys, you'll be
It
here.
has nothing. I mean, this is a local issue. A lieutenant governor this, lieutenant governor that. Yes, I appreciate you having them on and all that, but there's real people that are for and against the Bears
and
coming.
so, but on Friday, all you guys said was, "This is our time to talk about how great this is." So today, we're gonna. I'm telling you, I spent the weekend getting texts and phone calls from people saying, "How is this gonna? Am I gonna lose my house? How is this gonna affect my business?" I mean, again, there are real consequences to this. So take your victory lap, but also remember, there's an entire neighborhood that they don't know if it's gonna get torn down or not.
Exactly, Chuck. And we were just kind of hoping you'd talk about that.
Oh, there you go. Hey.
294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan. There is a problem on the Borman right now, and that is right at Klein Avenue. It looks like they're doing. Did they finally start all that construction?
I thought it was south of Klein.
Yeah,
south
I think
of
they
the
kicked
expressway.
it up. They kicked it up a little bit this morning. There's something new, and I'll probably get a. I think we all know people who drive through that
We put it
area.
out there. We said call in, let us know. CTA.
In terms of the weather, Lynette Lopez has the weather.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 72 degrees with highs of 81 and lows of 69. We'll be having some cloudiness and it should be humid and a thunderstorm or two this afternoon. And then tomorrow on Tuesday we'll be having highs of 88 and lows of 71 with some cloudiness and a thunderstorm. Should be warmer and humid. And then Wednesday we'll be having highs of 92 and lows of 71 with some cloudiness, breezy, hot and humid with a thunderstorm.
Here, you're like, talk about the Bears. I got every statement. I got the whole
Bob,
thing laid out right here. I
how
have
was your day off
my
last week?
vice grips here for some reason.
I said I was not here on Monday or Friday. I took the entire week off. It's fine.
No,
And it was really nice, but then I come in and boy, it was like I wasn't gone at all. Right back into it.
So I know that there. I came in on Friday and I thought I was going to do like 10 or 15 minutes just to say hello to everybody, but then Dabberton came in and he stayed for over 2 hours, and so a lot of people got their phone calls in then, and it was kind of a weird moment to move it forward. But I'm with you guys. The way they worded that was just a little bit spry, and I'm really sure it's like
what was there was a stadium somewhere, and I'm not, like you just said, I'm a politics guy, I'm not a sports guy. There was a stadium somewhere that some NFL team, they were going to move to another state. They were going to move. They did the groundbreaking. They did all the pomp and circumstance. And even after the groundbreaking, after all that, they decided to move somewhere else. And I can't I
want to say it was like Baltimore or somewhere. I don't know.
Something like that. So on Friday, as I was talking to folks, they said, we're not going to believe it until the first kickoff.
I read Jerry Davidge in the Times, whom I respect, and that was his. I'll believe it when I see it, when the shovels are in the ground and the actual mud is being pushed around. But in general, it was a good day. I mean, bringing the Bears to Hammond, I had all sorts of people texting me, what's that mean for your radio station? What's that mean for your sports network? And it's unknown at this point, but certainly, I think that people in Hammond could have concerns over their property values because it could significantly raise property values if there was that much development.
There's also a discussion about Calumet Avenue could be closed potentially for years while they rework that. I mean, there's all kinds of, there's all sorts of discussions about that. Again, I own a business right there on 119th Street. There are other business owners asking me, are we going to get priced out of the market? I mean, my busiest day is Sunday. Who's going to want to come to that neighborhood on a Sunday during a Bears game? I mean, again, there are real world consequences. So again, no reason not to celebrate, but we just have to discuss the other side of this as well. But here's the other part of this. Are we prematurely taking this victory lap, but also are we celebrating because we are slightly less dysfunctional than our neighbor? We have a very dysfunctional neighbor in Illinois, and we're basically, and again, this is this discussion I'm going to have with Lieutenant Governor, is like, are things really that greener over here, or are we just that less dysfunctional than our neighbor?
Well, I mean, you have the guy right there, Bob Starkey out of Dyer, that and I live right by the state line, and we have all really kind of lived right on the state line. I work there, so you work there now. We know that the dysfunctionality is much higher on the other side. Remember the Illinois signs and all of that? And all you got to do is that road where you used to live right now is all Illinois people that have moved into where you used to live. And then I lived right up the street from Chuck. And on that street there is 4 new houses of Illinois residents. And I'm like, hey, what brought you over here? Hey, guy, I looked around. This is a great neighborhood. I got, I spent about half of what I would have over there to get a similar thing.
What we're finding, again, painting with a broad brush, most of the people that we're finding moving into our communities are not the reason why Illinois is so dysfunctional. They're looking to leave that because it is. There's really no lines, and so if they can come to our side and it's safer, it's cheaper, the schools are better, yet they can still access everything they'd want in the greater Chicago area, they move here. And those are the folks that we want. And my guess is, and I don't know how to word this properly, so send me your letters. The folks that are causing a lot of the Illinois strife and troubles, they're not looking to move. That's what they're looking for. They want all of those services, all of those, whatever we think is crazy in Illinois, they're looking for that. So I don't think they're leaving.
Well, and that was my point about what's happening in L.A. right now, what's happening in New York. Is there certain people that they look at that and go, this is what I want? But there's going to be tipping points where, like, you look at L.A. and they have a massive homeless problem. Everybody that lives there, like, this place is dirty. This place is crawling with people on drugs. At a certain point, even if you're on that team, you go, I can't raise my family here. And that's what I found.
Those stories are somewhat related, but I think that the Bears getting close, and whether they do it or not, I agree with you. It's over 50% now, but it's not full,
That was a very carefully worded statement.
But so here's the thing. So we're going to take a call in a minute here, and you're not wearing headphones. But so one of the things that frustrated me about Friday is you took a call from Phil Talon, who said that building is going to get used like 365 days a year. You guys were talking like Taylor Swift's already booked and coming to Hammond and all these things. Like, I get that we're excited, but also this is like the train all over again where we're over promising. Like, just because you're building this cool stadium, and again, there's questions now. People are saying, well, if you're building the stadium, why do you need the convention center in Gary, for instance? So this idea that just because we're building this new dome in Hammond, Taylor Swift and Monster Jam and all these things are going to get pulled away from Chicago. Chicago still has 20 other venues that host these events. So I think, again, it frustrates me. You guys used the word transformational 800 times on Friday. It frustrates me that we are already over-promising on the benefits of this project, and that's what frustrates me. Same thing with the train. $1 billion, over-promised, transformational, and now, a couple thousand people use it, and it really didn't have the impact that they promised.
First of all, get it correct. I was not on with Phil Taylor.
But no, he called in after you. He called in after you left. So, I mean, you guys had 2 hours. Phil called in, and he literally said...
You say you
3,
guys. It's
okay.
You
were on 2. You were on 2.
I came in. I gave a nice introduction. I said hello to everybody. I interviewed Sam.
Fair enough.
I interviewed one other person, Sam, and somebody else. And then I handed, Dabberton, you want to take it? And he took it. And a lot of people called in, and I listened, and it was great radio, and we did what we were supposed to do. But, be accurate about it.
Okay, fair enough. But after you left, but the show that had your name on it, though,
so here's
Phil
the
was
thing.
on here.
The amount of development, the amount of public relations, the amount of positive energy off of if the Bears coming is not calculable. I think that it is the result of years and years of the demand being built up. I saw it with traders. Traders were the first guys that were buying houses along the lakefront when I worked down at the Board of Trade. And they're like, dude, everyone's going to come eventually. And then we had a recession. Then we had COVID. It's just time that Northwest Indiana is being discovered by data centers. Northwest Indiana is being discovered by people who want to buy houses, which is pushing up the price of houses big time and causing people on a fixed income a lot of problems. But also the Bears looking at us is by far the best positive public relations we could have ever wanted.
So I don't disagree. So I'll use the perfect example of St. John. A lot of the people that are second and third generation St. John people, what do you think they're saying right now? They're not saying how great is it that every farm field in my area is now 1,000 new homes. They're saying I miss the old St. John. My family built this place, and now all of you are moving here, and now I've got traffic everywhere and all. I mean, that sort of thing. The people that built it are the ones that are going to get pushed out. Look at what the Ricketts family did to Wrigleyville, right? I mean, it was this neighborhood of small neighborhood bars and all these things. What happened when the Ricketts came in? They said, we're going to start buying up all of the property in the neighborhood, and we're going to control it. So that's my concern. As we sit here, all the small restaurant and bar owners in that neighborhood are sitting here going, this is great for us. But then what's going to happen is the Bears aren't building a stadium. They are building a campus. They're building a campus with entertainment, with everything will be on campus, designed for you not to leave. You're not going to go run over to 119th Street, and you could, but they're designing a facility that you don't leave. You stay there, and your money stays there. So I mean, again, this idea that that the whole neighborhood is going to benefit, maybe. But maybe they're not. Maybe they're going to get priced out of the market. The people that are here first, they're worried they're going to get priced out of the market.
I think you have very valid concerns about this development. That, to me, is not one of them. I mean, you go to a game at Soldier Field or Wrigley Field or Sox Park if you're an old-time attendee to the games, and you go into the neighborhood. They're built into the neighborhoods. People walk into the neighborhoods. They pay $80 the other day. I wanted to park, and I'm like, I'll never do that again. I know a guy who's got a building, and it's a little bit of ways to say, hey, just open the gate. I'll be there. And I'm not paying $80 to anybody.
Okay, so what happens when 20,000 cars try to drive up and down 119th Street to try to go find a place to eat? What happens when 20 or 30,000 people come from Chicago, say, let's go cruise down 119th Street and find something to eat?
So you're talking out of both sides of your mouth again.
Okay, fair enough.
Because you're saying, well, no one's going to leave the campus.
No, I'm saying,
wait, what happens if they all do?
If they do, right, if they do, what happens? Our infrastructure, 119th Street cannot handle 20,000 cars cruising up and down looking for a place to eat. If they do, that's what I'm saying. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. If they don't go, then the neighborhood doesn't get the benefit. If they do go, the neighborhood will be absolutely gridlocked. I was there that day that Lil Wayne was in town, and it was gridlock in North Hammond the entire day, and that was 15,000 people, not 50 or 60,000
All right,
people.
so Bob, I hate to monopolize this, but I have to go because this has been going on for this is my longest adult relationship.
I know.
Chuck Pullen, right?
I just figured Mommy and Daddy were having a conversation.
But Chuck Pullen changed the way that I think and the way that all this happened, including Lynette sitting there and us building this sports network that has gone way more quickly than we can even handle. And what you told me years ago, it still holds together today. I said, well, nobody's really doing sport, or no one's watching TV on their phone, and it's not really streaming. Video isn't really a thing yet. And you said to me, you go, all right, Jed, I get that. Look at where things are right now. But you have to understand that they will change and that we will adapt and that you have to project forward of what we are capable of doing. You changed the course of all of the streaming and all these kids that get on TV by that one comment because I started to think about it. So I'm going to boomerang that back at you. Yes, right now, if somebody wanted to drive down 119th Street, if there isn't infrastructure built and they have to close Calumet Avenue, and the soil has slag on it, all of those things are positive, but you would have to look forward 5 to 7 years that situation is going to be entirely different. Right. You're applying 20,000 cars on 119th Street right now. It's not going to work.
Right. So you're saying widen 119th Street. Great. I lose my business. And so does everybody else on 119th Street. I mean, again, that's the reality. You want to widen 119th Street, then we all lose our businesses. We lose that neighborhood. We lose that little neighborhood. We have Pierogi Fest. I mean, again, just acknowledge, if we do this, it's going to fundamentally change the region. And you say it's for the better. The people that lived here and grew up and made that neighborhood what it is, they may not agree with you. They may say, I don't want 20,000 cars driving through my neighborhood every Sunday.
Chuck,
my question is, nobody's asking us. Nobody, not one person, and that's what they keep texting me, say, nobody asked us if we want this. The people, the real stakeholders, the people in that neighborhood, not a single person, not a single politician, whether they're mayor, councilman, state rep, not a single person has said, do you want this? They've just said, you're getting this. Let's take a break because we've got the Lieutenant Governor calling in a few minutes. We'll be back with more after this.
It's gold rush time at Albert's. Oh, looky here! Oh, those are gonna fetch a pretty penny.
But who's gonna buy them from us?
I'll buy that gold from you.
What did you say?
I said I'll buy that gold from you, and I'll give you top dollar.
That sounds great.
It's gold rush time. We will see you at Albert's.
Life's biggest challenges don't come with a warning. When legal issues arise, whether it's a car accident, personal injury, criminal charge, or representing you before municipal boards, you need a trusted advocate on your side. At Westland & Bennett, we listen first because your story matters. We provide strategic, personalized legal solutions to protect your rights, your freedom, and your future. Peace of mind starts with a conversation. Call 219-440-7550 today for a free consultation.
Fox Point's free summer Wednesday night concert series kicks off June 3rd with 16 candles. As June heats up, dance to Rico, Boy Band Night, and the Chicago Experience. Then join us for our first free Friday Night Lights concert featuring Fearless, a Taylor Swift tribute, and Beyond the Blonde on June 26th. Fox Point in Lansing, Illinois is just minutes from I-8094 and parking is free. Visit foxpoint.org for our full schedule. That's point with an E, foxpoint.org.
We've had some cars run into the barrier wall, not paying attention. They were on their phone.
Texting, scrolling. Yeah, it's bad.
Most often they be on their phones or they're just not paying attention. They can cause a crash.
We could stand on the side of the road and watch every other vehicle looking down into their lap as they're passing us. You know what they're looking at. They're looking at their phone.
Phones. On their phones, not paying attention.
Phones. I'm not a mathematician, but I say probably about 80% of the people who pass me are on their telephones.
No call, text, or video is worth putting yourself or a road worker in danger. When driving through construction, LIUNA members ask you for your sake and ours.
Slow down, stay off your phone, please. Be aware where we're at, where the cone zones are at.
Stay off your phones and buckle up and drive safe.
We're not asking for much.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
It's 7:02 here in the region. You're listening to AM 1230, 104.7 FM. Since I suck at traffic, here's Jim.
294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. The Bishop Ford and the Dan Ryan are way lighter than normal. Skyway Toll Road Borman, I can't believe that it's that wide open this morning. Remember, they kicked up a notch on the construction at Klein Avenue and the Borman. Lynette,
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 71 degrees with highs of 81 and lows of 69. We're going to have some cloudiness and should be humid with a thunderstorm or two this afternoon. Then tomorrow on Tuesday, we'll be having highs of 88 and lows of 71 with some cloudiness and a thunderstorm. Should be warmer and humid. Then Wednesday, we'll be having highs of 92 and lows of 71 with some cloudiness, breezy, hot, and humid with a thunderstorm.
Thank you so much.
You're going to give me a quick shameless
Go
plug?
ahead.
Hey, guys. I'm moving along on the documentary about the flood of 2008. I think we've done 40-some interviews. We have some proofs, and we're going to be going through those today. What I could really use, and I want to say thank you to everybody that has supplied these. We could use some photos, any video you might have, any newspapers, that kind of stuff. Any momentums. We got a lot of interviews. I think we're okay there. We could use maybe 2 more interviews with victims of the flood, people who basically lost everything and had to pull out. If you are in that or you know somebody, just send me we'll do a quick little interview. I'll come out with the camera and we'll just sit in your front yard. And Paul Nelson, Chuck's buddy, and I will come out and do the interview. And that will be Jed at WJOB1230.com. Once again, anything with the flood of 2008, we're getting down to the crunch time where we're going to try to put it all together, and we could use it soon. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, you'll be back later. If you're on hold, except for you, Lieutenant Governor, if you're on hold, call back at 7:20. We've got the Lieutenant Governor on our super secret VIP hotline. Lieutenant Governor, how are you this morning?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
We're good. Hey, happy Pride Month to you, Lieutenant Governor. No, hang on. Let him. Happy Pride Month, Lieutenant Governor. Go ahead.
Hey, listen, happy Nuclear Family Month, everybody. I don't know what Pride Month is, but in Indiana, this is Nuclear Family Month, so we're good.
Look, this isn't fair. Everybody else has gotten a viral clip out of you but me. This is not fair. Everybody else has gotten on CNN except for my show, and we talk the most.
Okay,
it's always
let me give you one right now. Let me give you one right now. Hey, I want to double down. I hate Islam. I love Muslims, but I hate Islam. Muslims are good. We love them because they're made in God's image, but we hate their ideologies. So there you go. There's your viral clip. Run with that one.
That's all he was. That's all he was wanting. Thanks for that.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. In the words of Kanye West, Micah, I'm gonna let you finish, but. So I'm going to let you take your victory lap on the Bears, but we're going to take our time getting there, and I'll take that lap with you, but I'm going to push back a little bit along the way. So, okay, before we get there, let's talk about this proclamation about the nuclear family. What was that all about?
Well, it was a great move. I think the governor did exactly what should have been done. I mean, the LGBTQ, the alphabet mafia has taken over so many things. They've been pushing this ideology down people's throats. I mean, listen, I respect people's lifestyles, but the fact that you push a very divisive, ideology into Indiana like they do. I mean, you see it in our schools, you see it in our colleges, you see it in culture, and the majority of Hoosiers is like, hey, like don't shove your bedroom into my face. Like what you do in your bedroom is between you and whoever you do that with, but don't be pushing that into my face. And so what the governor did, he said, listen, we need to get the focus back on good things, back on things that actually lift up society and don't divide it. And so he put out the proclamation. The Nuclear Family Month is June. And I took it to him about a month ago and said, hey, Bill Lee down in Tennessee just did this. And, he declared June that was going to be Nuclear Family Month. And so I just said, what if we do something like this in Indiana? And the governor liked it. And he's like, yeah, it's a good idea. And actually, we've seen a lot of governors. Governor Stitt over in Oklahoma declared June June is the month of right to life, pro-life month over in Oklahoma. I believe Alabama declared something similar. So we've seen a lot of good conservative governors say, hey, we're going to take the focus off of the alphabet mafia and we're going to put it on something that is actually uplifting, right, true, good, and virtuous. And that's what we did here in Indiana.
So one of the issues that I think, I mean, again, I understand that, but one of the things I would also say is that obviously one of our goals should be to go back to the two-parent household. We were just talking earlier about teen takeovers, all these problems in society. And I think at the end of the day, we can argue all we want, but we can say that the lack of two-parent households, just sort of the chaos in the family, ultimately is what is causing a lot of these issues, causing a lot of this idea of why are test scores down? Well, it's because the parents don't care to help with their homework, and they don't put that the precedent. They don't push the idea of doing good in school. So again, we can agree that the nuclear family is important, but also I think it needs to be not like a, hey, this is a retort to Pride Month. It needs to be like, hey, this is something that we as a society need to move towards, is getting back to a two-parent household, and, you know, having a good nuclear family. It's for the greater good. I mean, again, I get what you're doing, but also I'd say make it bigger than just about a pushback against pride. It should be something that as a society we're striving for.
Well, 100%. And that's, if you read the proclamation, that's exactly what the governor said. I mean, yes, it is a pushback on the LGBTQ stuff because it's just gotten out of control. I mean, this trans sanity is ridiculous. But it is, more importantly, it's a focus on what makes strong societies. And strong societies throughout all world history are built on strong families that are rooted in a two-parent household, the nuclear family. I mean, this is a godly principle. This is not rocket science. Any nations that have been strong throughout world history have strong families. Any nations that have been weak or have fallen throughout world history have seen a decay of the nuclear family. And so this is just a common sense approach to making us stronger as Hoosiers. So while it is a pushback on the LGBTQ stuff because they've gotten way out of bounds, they've gone way over their skis, they've been slamming this stuff down our throats for years. That I'm not going to deny that wasn't part of the conversation, but really the majority of this conversation is really what's going to make Indiana stronger. And that's what the governor looks at. That's what I look at. We do things to make Indiana a better, stronger state. And this is one thing we can do, because you're right, because those teen takeovers, low test scores, suicide, depression, anxiety rates through the roof right now in our young people. It's because the nuclear family breakdown. And so we needed to make proclamations and declare from the highest office in Indiana that we've got to get back to strong families that actually uphold society and not allow society to just begin to degrade like we've been seeing.
We're talking to the Lieutenant Governor, so let's go ahead and I'll let you start taking your victory lap. I was listening to a clip the other day. I think you were on with my friend Amy Jacobson in Chicago last week, probably before the announcement is what it sounded like. I wasn't sure with the date, but
It was like 2 minutes before the announcement.
Oh, was it?
The phone, and then my phone blew up. And it was like, so I texted them back and said, "Hey, by the way, this just happened." And they're like, "Oh my gosh!"
No, it was funny because I was listening to it, and it's sort of like it's crazy how quickly everything changes, right? And I could tell just by listening to it. I'm like, he probably recorded this literally like on Thursday or something, and now everything has changed. But one of the things that was interesting, it was great to hear them. You guys got into a nuts and bolts conversation about budgets and about bond ratings and all these things. And so one of the things I was talking about in the last hour was this idea that I'm wondering if this event. So, and what we talked about was this idea that there's a lot of us, we live and breathe politics, but there's also a lot of like the Joe Six-Packs. They're all about sports. This moment in time for them, this idea of we've lost the Bears to Indiana. And, again, they may not understand how tax incentives works and how budgets work, but they understand we've lost the Bears and I want to know why. And again, you hit the nail on the head. You talked about the difference between the two states. I've been following Illinois and Chicago politics forever. And again, I think, and honestly, it's probably worse than you even realize when you talk about, the delayed pension payments and all these things. Chicago has spent the last 60 years kicking the can and doing everything it can to essentially sink future generations. Everything they've done is to find money today. You've sold off everything. You've sold off everything you could that wasn't nailed down. You've delayed pension payments as much as you can. Everything they've done is setting up future generations for failure. And now those chickens are finally coming home to roost. So let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, so just sort of this idea, like, what you guys are talking about, this idea of Chicago and Illinois has really painted itself into a corner. But for some reason, and this is what I don't understand, why is it this one issue that people like Brandon Johnson, J.B. Pritzker, this is the one time that they've decided. I said, I don't think J.B. Pritzker saw the three ghosts before this vote. For some reason, he's decided this is his line in the sand. This is the one thing that state's going to be fiscally conservative on, and that's letting the Bears build a new stadium. Why do you think that is?
Well, because I think people love what they love, right? I mean, sports is kind of that in a lot of ways, it's just really passionate love obsession that people have. And so, whereas politics, most people don't love politics, right? Like most people try to stay away from politics. I mean, you guys are the exception, not the rule. I'm the same way. But we live and breathe politics. Most people just like to love the things that are fun, and that's sports. And so when the things that they love actually get impacted by bad politics, then they start waking up. I mean, you see this what's happening right now in the UK, right? I mean, people just wanted to be left alone. They had bad politics that brought in a Muslim immigration onslaught, and now they're seeing all of the things they love get ripped apart. I mean, Henry Nowak and, all of these things that have happened in the last few years with this takeover of the things they love. And so when that happens, people wake up and they say, oh my gosh, what has happened? Why is this happening? I didn't realize that politics could have done this to my life. And so I think in a small way, the Bears are kind of similar to that. It's like, oh my gosh, how do we lose the Bears? I didn't realize the thing I loved could have been impacted by bad politics. I just thought it was like, politicians screaming about sidewalks and stuff like that, or I hate Trump or I love Trump. And when you get down into the nuts and bolts, like you said, no, this impacts your life. This is why politics is so important, because it impacts every part of your life, whether you like it to or not, it's going to. And so I saw a report yesterday that Illinois last year spent $2.5 billion with a B on resources for illegal aliens in Illinois. $2.5 billion. So if you would have just stopped funding illegals in your state, you could have essentially paid for an entire stadium to be built right there in Illinois. Right there. There's your solution. But because of bad politics, people that want to virtue signal and say, oh my gosh, we've got to welcome the world to Chicago. They can come in however they want, and we're going to pay for them with taxpayer dollars. Well, this is the consequences of really bad politicians who do really bad things. And I love what John Stonestreet says from the Colson Center. He says, ideas have consequences and bad ideas have victims. And so the victims in this case were the people of Chicago who just lost their storied franchise to a state that's been doing it a lot better because we have good politics, or at least better politics, in Indiana.
Okay, so I wanted to read this. I said, one of the things that's sort of interesting about what's happening on the Illinois side is that obviously they are trying to spin this. So this is a quote from the House Speaker, Emanuel Welch. He said, while Indiana is willing to raise taxes and promise $1 billion in taxpayer funds, Illinois has focused on the needs of working families who want relief at the gas pump, at the store, and on their insurance bills, not taxpayer-funded stadiums. This literally a week after Illinois raised taxes on everything that moves, passed the largest budget in history, $56 billion. But then also the entire discussion was expanding programs. And again, this is like one of those, we get it. You're not learning your lesson. You just keep throwing more money. There's more Leering centers, more hospice, more fraud. And like you said, if you would just cut back on the programs, if you would just audit your existing programs, you would find more money than you possibly could use to fund this. And I think that's one of the things that when I was listening to your conversation the other day with Amy Jacobson, you talked about this idea that, when you're talking about the tariffs and COVID, how this was, I think it was during the tariffs. You use it as an opportunity to cut things back. And you basically, you did something that government usually doesn't do, which is being proactive about your budget, not reactive. And so you cut spending ahead of time. And then when things weren't as doom and gloom as you thought, guess what? Now we have even more money to play with on the back end. So, again, in that regard, I give you guys kudos. I give you kudos on that. I tell people all the time, I said, I sleep better at night in a state that has a budget surplus. I sleep better at night that I live in a community with a balanced budget. I sleep better at night as a fiscal conservative living somewhere where I know we have a rainy day fund and we're not billions of dollars in debt. So I give everybody involved kudos on that. But I think we need to acknowledge, and this is one of the things I talked about is, I don't know how much time you spent in that neighborhood where the proposed stadium is going to be. Again, there are, that is a community. There are houses literally being built across the street. I talked about, I have a business about 5 blocks away. So, again, I know a lot of people are excited, but we also have to acknowledge there's a lot of people in that neighborhood that are worried about their homes. They're worried about how it's going to affect their business. It's worried about how it's going to affect traffic. So, that's the only thing that I would say for me is I want to make sure, because I'm the one getting these texts from people saying I'm worried about how this is going to affect our community. So I at least want, we need to acknowledge the fact that this is going to have huge huge ramifications for a certain amount of people in that area.
Oh, 100%. And with growth, there's always growing pains, right? And this is probably going to be one of those conversations that we're going to have to be sensitive to as far as the local community there. I mean, certainly the last thing the governor or myself or anybody in state leadership wants to see happen is that we just plop this ginormous piece of Chicago into Hammond, right? Or, I don't think we're not trying to become Chicago. And I think that's where we got to be careful. It's okay, this is cool. The Bears franchise could bring a lot of good things, but there could also be some potential downsides, and we need to mitigate those downsides and those risks that we could potentially see ourselves falling into. And that's just the right thing to do, because again, it's the people that will be most affected will be the people that have called Hammond their home for a very long time, and I hate seeing that. I mean, part of me I wish we could just put everything in a bubble and preserve it and it never changes, but that's just not the world we live in. And I mean, I see this in Hamilton County, where I live. Hamilton County is starting to look like Indianapolis. I mean, we're seeing more crime because of the growth, right? It's because we've invited the world to come to Hamilton County and say, hey, come, we got great schools, we got great, amenities and lifestyles, and, come on in, and everyone starts coming in. And then they get all the crap with it too. And so, and now we're really trying to, we just had a slew of crime in Carmel the last couple of weeks because of Indianapolis bleeding into Carmel. So we got to be careful. We don't want Chicago to bleed into Indiana. We want to make sure that we preserve what Indiana is known for, which is faith and family, the foundational elements of good society, good governance, good balanced budgets. And I think we can do it, but we certainly have to be willing to listen to those local officials. So I'm just going to put it out there right now, guys. If anyone has concerns, they can reach out to my office and just keep us aware, because then we can make sure we're at least trying to, protect and preserve some of those concerns that people have, and they don't just get buried in this, oh, great, the Bears are coming, this is awesome, and then, shiny new object, and now somebody locally is really hurt because of it. So we do not want that to happen.
No, I appreciate that. Again, like we see a lot with, eminent domain is a big issue of mine, because a lot of times people don't, we take care of them, but also I hate the idea of somebody losing their home and we just say, oh, well, it's old stock. Well, that's somebody's home. They built it. They lived there for 50 years. I mean, again, that's my concern, is as long as we're keeping those people in mind as we go through this. So Bob, who actually invited you on the show, would like to ask a question. He's looking at me. He's like, when do I get to talk? Go ahead. He has a question for you.
This is Chuck's.
Oh, hey, Bob's there. Hey,
this
Bob.
is Chuck's special time with the Lieutenant Governor. I hate to interrupt that.
We have two things. So he's got a thing, and then I have a selfish request on the back end. So go ahead. You ask him your thing, and I got one more.
Chuck's will be a lot more fun. It was just the Democrats had their convention this past weekend. I spent the weekend at the convention center, but at the Indianapolis Comic-Con, and one of the running gags that I had was between the Democrat state convention and the Indianapolis Comic-Con, I never knew where the blue hairs were going.
They should have saved money and just done them both at the same time. Come on.
So there's that, but I didn't know. I'm sorry. Thoughts and prayers to the blue-haired folks out there. I didn't know if you had any thoughts, if you had any comments on Bo Bai getting the nod for, or their nod for Secretary of State. If you had any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty hilarious, actually, because Bo Bai is the picture of the oligarchy, right? I mean, he doesn't even live in Indiana. I mean, he grew up in the East Coast. I mean, the guy is not a Hoosier. He's got a rich family, a big family name. I mean, he's a silver spoon in his mouth. Everything that Bernie Sanders and AOC rails against, and yet here's the guy that's the hope of all hopes for the Democrats in Indiana. And I'm like, wow, it's amazing. It's kind of like, when they condemned me for going after Sharia law, and then 3 days later they're praising Pride Month, and I'm like, guys, do you not recognize that the thing that I'm fighting against is the very thing that you hate seeing, like throw Pride Month off of buildings? You know what I mean? Like that. Right. To me, that's where it just doesn't make sense. They're not consistent. And here again, you've got Bo Bai, and I don't know the guy. I mean, I've met him one time just briefly, but. He just isn't a Hoosier. I mean, he's never lived here more than, he moved back a year ago so he could run for this office. I mean, that's it. His dad was from here. His grandpa was from here, but he grew up on the East Coast. And so the oligarchy is taking over the Democrat Party in Indiana. And I thought they were supposed to be against that, according to what I hear Bernie Sanders say all the time. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think the Republicans are going to be able to win this. I know it'll be a battle. And again, Bo Bai is going to have $5 to $6 million of outside money. So when Democrats are kind of saying, we've got to take back Indiana, just know you're not taking back anything if Bo Bai wins. This is outside influences coming and taking over Indiana. And so, I think Republicans will be able to make that case well and make sure that, we know that if the Democrats get the Secretary of State's office, we will see California-style elections in Indiana. That is their goal. They've said it as much. They've even said the quiet part out loud. Some of their leadership, they want to turn us into what we see happening right now with mail-in ballots out in L.A. I mean, 7 days after the election, and you still don't know who's where, and it looks like Spencer Pratt's not going to win or be able to move on because you have Democrats controlling the election process. So if you want that in Indiana, then sure, vote for Bo Bai, and we won't have fair elections and free elections. But if you want good, safe, secure elections, and then you got to keep it in Republican hands.
So during a break of what I was doing, I was walking up and down, and I was talking with some of their delegates. This was before the vote, and I was surprised. And very few things in politics surprise me anymore, but I was surprised at how split some of the Democrats were in that they didn't care for Bo Bai. They are saying the exact same things you were saying, and they wanted whether it was Blythe or just some other option because they saw this as a money grab, a position grab, someone who maybe isn't a Hoosier. And I was just surprised at their willingness to speak openly about that. Now, I think at the end, it was 60-40 maybe. So, I mean, he won handedly. And we always have to remember, this is my political moment here on the show, the Democrats always come together better than the Republicans do after a primary or a convention nomination because we tend to stick to our principles more, and so but their victory is to win. So they even those folks that said, hey, we don't like Bo, we feel like he's buying the spot, whether with his name or all this money, we agree that, hey, the guy, Indiana was so bad that his family decided to raise him on the East Coast, and so now you're coming back for this, and truly, for the voters out there, if you put Bo Bai in office now, we're going to have another 40 years of the Bai family. That's just how it's going to be. But it was interesting that there were a majority of the folks I talked to were self-aware enough to know that, hey, this guy has some issues. So it's not just the Republicans that are squabbling over Secretary of State.
Yeah, well, I think that's a good point. I mean, the Democrats, like you said, they come together and they do what they're told to do a lot more than Republicans do because we're independent thinkers. Republicans are critical thinkers more so than Democrats are, and we think independently. So sometimes that's a blessing and a curse, right? Like, I mean, It's hard to unify Republicans sometimes, right? But you look at what's happening with Democrats, even nationally. I mean, they've just, full on support of a guy in Maine has a Nazi tattoo on his body. This guy's a womanizer. This guy has abused women. There's a text coming out like he's abused women and for years. I mean, this guy has called our veterans trash. I mean, everything that you would think the Democrats would say, oh my gosh, we can't have it. I mean, they call Donald Trump a Nazi all the time, and yet they're supporting a guy who has literally a Nazi tattoo on his chest. You just can't make this up. It's the hypocrisy of the Democrats is just, I mean, it would be laughable if it wasn't so frightening. And here we are in Indiana. The same thing is happening with Bo Bai. He's not from Indiana. The guy's not a Hoosier. He was raised on the East Coast. He's an oligarch. I mean, he's the definition. I mean, he's the poster child for silver spoon in his mouth. I mean, everything the Democrats supposedly hate. And now they're saying, oh, no, we'll get behind this guy because he's not Donald Trump, right? And we hate it's DTS all over again, or it's we hate Governor Braun, or we hate Micah Beckwith, and so we'll compromise on all our principles just because we hate that person so much, and that's what's happening with this nomination. And I do think, last thing I'll say, Bob, you're right. There are some principled Democrats in that convention that are saying, hey, we're Marxists all day through and through. We don't like the oligarch, and we don't like – and so Bo Bice spent about $450,000. I think Blythe only spent about $80,000. And, she still got, 40% of the vote, which is pretty telling. I mean, you're looking at, $390 per vote is what Bo spent. I think Blythe spent somewhere around $90 per vote. So that's pretty good considering the money that was spent. And it does say that there is more of a rift in the Democrats probably than what the leadership of the party wants to admit.
Go ahead. That voice, Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith, with us for another couple minutes. Go ahead. You anything?
No, I was just going to throw it back to you because the next thing Chuck has an ask, and my preface to that would be keep an open mind. I think it'd be fun. Go for it, Chuck.
You don't even know what I'm going to ask. Okay, here's the thing, Lieutenant Governor.
I'm nervous.
I'm going to be selfish here. I have a big ask for you. I would like to see you as my governor someday. I would like you to be the governor of this state someday, okay? But here's the thing.
Okay.
In order for you to get elected, you're at like an 11 right now. We're going to have to dial it back to like a 7 or an 8. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying I love how, how open you are and how you're always saying what's on your mind. Dial it back like 20% because I'm selfish and I want you to get elected. That's all I'm saying. Just dial it back like 20%, and I think you've got this in the bag.
So let me give you a little bit of insight into just sort of my political, I would say, strategy here and all this, because people are like, "What are you doing? You say all these things that cause the firestorms to happen." And you have to understand, like, I got elected by the delegates for one reason, and that was to be a check and balance, right, on the GOP establishment that has been going off the rails. Not as far as the left has gone, but we've seen it over the last few years going off the rails. So they elected me. They said, hey, you need to be on that ticket with Senator Braun because we can trust that you're going to speak openly, honestly, and you'll call things out the way you see. You call balls and strikes, and you don't sugarcoat it. And so for the first 2 years of my term, that's been my goal. It's like, I'm just going to call balls and strikes. I'm going to say what I believe, and I'm going to say it with passion, and I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, right? But part of that I've had to do that because I think for a while, the base, well, I think Governor Braun is actually doing a good job. The base still saw him as kind of the establishment as well. And I'm trying to show the base that, hey, guys, this isn't the same old administration that we've had, the last 8 years in Indiana. There's something different here, and there is a conservative, common sense guy in the seat. But if I would have just shut up and just kind of been seen to go along with like all the talking points all the time, like people would have said, "Oh my gosh, like this is it, this happening again. Mike is just becoming part of the establishment." And so I want the base to know more than anything. It's like, guys, I am still the fighter. I always have been. I always will be. I have not compromised on any principles. I understand the strategy of politics, but I've been, the first 2 years has just been lightning rod. Now I think that the second 2 years, one of my goals will be, hey, I'm gonna start, stepping more into that statesman kind of level, because I've been more of that like firebrand before now. And so this is kind of my 2 year strategy of just saying, hey, this is how we can do it. And this is what the GOP always forgets. They get into office and then they completely abandon the base because they're like, oh my gosh, the base, they're rebel rousers and they're just so they're hard to control and they just make people mad all the time. Well, listen, GOP establishment, if you don't have the base, you don't win, because they're the ones that call. They're the ones that knock doors. They're the ones that get their friends out to vote. And so I've seen this in Indianapolis. Indianapolis sucks when it comes to the Republican Party because they have totally abandoned the grassroots conservative base. They throw them to the curb. The only time they call them is when they need someone to work a precinct or they need to make phone calls for an establishment who wants to get elected. And so, but the next 3 years, it's like they don't even exist to the establishment. And so then you wonder, why can't the establishment get any wins in a place like Marion County? It's not because the Democrats are so strong, because they're not. I mean, people don't like what's happening all over the place in Indianapolis. It's because the Republicans have abandoned the base because they want to be country club Republicans, just like Rush Limbaugh used to say. And I'm really trying to say, hey, I am not a country club Republican, and I'm not going to let the party on my watch go down that path. The best I can stop it. I'm gonna do everything I can. And so that's really been my strategy. So it's funny you say that, Chuck, because that's really, I mean, that's where I'm going. I'm still about 11 right now, but yeah, I'll start dialing it back.
Here's what you're gonna do
as people start to get to know me.
In a week or two, there's gonna be a package on your doorstep. It's gonna be a big stick with 2 words on it. From me, it's going to say, speak softly. Speak softly. Carry a big stick. Lieutenant Governor, we love you. Thank you so much for your time. And by the way, I'm going to run IDOT after you get elected. Just so you know, you're going to make why? Because I have no experience whatsoever. I have no idea how to run INDOT. I would be perfect. I could not do any worse than they are doing right now. So that's all I'm asking. You become governor, put me in charge of INDOT. Give me a year. Give me 1 year. I promise I will turn things around. Okay, Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much. Future Governor Micah Beckwith, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more after this.
Hey Region, I'm T, and I grew up in East Chicago, went to college in Gary, worked out of Munster, and raised my family in Crown Point. I'm Region to the core. I created Region Hot Sauce, the flavor of the region. Add it to chicken, fish, pizza, eggs, and more for the perfect blend of heat and flavor. Visit RegionHotSauce.com for a complete list of locations or to order direct. Region Hot Sauce, the flavor of the region.
Before Notre Dame Federal Credit Union, we were being charged various maintenance fees and various check writing fees for all of our accounts. And with Notre Dame, we don't have that. We have that true community partnership. We get interest based on all of our parish and school accounts, and the interest rate is really second to none.
We've had some cars run into the barrier wall, not paying attention. They were on their phone.
Texting, scrolling. Yeah, it's bad.
Most often they be on their phones or they're just not paying attention. They can cause a crash.
We could stand on the side of the road and watch every other vehicle looking down into their lap as they're passing us. You know what they're looking at. They're looking at their phone.
Phones. On their phones, not paying attention. Phones.
I'm not a mathematician, but I say probably about 80% of the people who pass me are on their telephones.
No call, text, or video is worth putting yourself or a road worker in danger. When driving through construction, LIUNA members ask you for your sake and ours.
Slow down, stay off your phone, please. Be aware where we're at, where the cone zones are at.
Stay off your phones and buckle up and drive safe.
We're not asking for much.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
For over 140 years, the Central Midwest Carpenters have built our communities in Northwest Indiana. Are you ready to join the effort? We have long-term work, competitive pay, and the best benefits in the industry. We pride ourselves on innovative training and commitment to worksite safety. Earn as you learn as an apprentice. A solid career built on a solid legacy. For more info, go to carpenters.com.
7:36 in the region. Chuck Pullen, Bob Starkey. We had Lieutenant Governor on. We're going to be talking to Fox Point at 8 o'clock. We're going to be talking to Brian Cowleys about his new documentary about the Piatone Airport debacle at 8:30. But in the meantime, we're taking your phone calls. I promise, 845-1100. In the meantime, let's take a look at traffic and weather. Our traffic guy wandered off. He was like, I'm going to do traffic today. And then he just wanders off. So I will do traffic for him. Here in Indiana, everything looking good. 80, 94, 65, Skyway Toll Road. He was talking earlier, there's some construction around Klein Avenue. It looks like Klein Avenue South, but if you're out in that area, let us know what's going on. They have lane closures. What's going on there? Bishop Ford and the Dan Ryan looking good. 80 looking good. 294. Everything looking good in Illinois. Usual slowdown Dan Ryan into the circle. Other than that, things looking good in traffic. How's weather?
Morning, everyone. Today we're at 74 degrees with highs of 81 and lows of 69. We'll be having some cloudiness, should be humid, and a thunderstorm or two this afternoon. Then tomorrow on Tuesday, we'll be having highs of 88 and lows of 71 with some cloudiness and a thunderstorm. Should be warmer and humid. And Wednesday, we'll be having highs of 92 and lows of 71 with some cloudiness, breezy, hot, and humid with a thunderstorm.
Thank you so much. So I appreciate the relationship that Bob has cultivated with the Lieutenant Governor. So basically, anytime the Lieutenant Governor either says something controversial or wants to talk, he immediately texts Bob like at 9 o'clock on a Sunday. He's like, I'm coming on with you guys Monday morning. So I appreciate that we have such a good rapport with the man.
Well, I was talking in the YouTube chats. I know you don't really care about the YouTube chats.
We have a YouTube chat?
Yeah, we do. We do.
Cool.
And I had to ask them, I said, look, do you guys appreciate him coming on? And not even so much Micah himself, but, the Lieutenant Governor, we rarely get people from Indianapolis giving two whoops about the region. And at this point, he comes on about once a month,
right?
I think.
Whenever he gets in trouble.
And everybody seems to like it. It's whether you agree with him or not, he says the same story to whatever audience.
Right.
So, and that's not something you find in a lot of politicians at that level.
But again,
oftentimes
right.
they will change their narrative depending on who you're with. And so I appreciate the fact that once a month he gives us 20 minutes or whatever.
But I also appreciate we bring on people like Rob Kendall occasionally, and there's other people in Indianapolis that just because we have been sort of neglected. And that's one of the things I was talking to Rob Kendall. I said, the region doesn't know what's going on down there, but you guys also don't know what's going on in the region. So we need to open this dialogue because there's a lot, you guys are sending a lot of money this way. I just want, you guys to know where it's going. So do we have phone calls?
We got 4.
We got a full boat. Let's take some calls. Let's power through. Good morning, caller. You are on the air.
Yeah, hi. Earlier you mentioned that you thought maybe that the threat of losing the Bears might shock the Illinois voters into a reality.
Yeah.
But I don't think that'd happen. I was watching an interview with Jimmy Dore on Tucker Carlson the other day, and Jimmy Dore talked about friends of his that lived in Pacific Palisades out in L.A.
Right.
And after a lot of their homes burned, they asked these people, who you voting for this election? They said, well, you got to vote for the Democrats. And another homeowner, when they told them, well, the Democrats let the reservoir go dry so they couldn't put the fires out. And they said, well, that wouldn't have made any difference anyway. So that's a mentality you're working with. And the idea that these people are ever going to come to reality, I don't think it'll happen.
Well,
even if they were to actually lose the Bears.
No, I get that. But I mean, even like in Los Angeles, there are a lot of people that, here's the thing I always say. Once you start going through that process, the people of the Pacific Palisades, I mean, I follow Adam Carolla, who says at this point there's basically one house being built. Nobody's getting construction permits. Nobody's rebuilding. They're living in trailers like Spencer Pratt. So, I mean, once you go through the process, even I look back to Bill Maher. Bill Maher talked about trying to build solar on his property or changing his garage door. Once you start dealing with the ridiculous bureaucracy of government, it's sort of that wake-up call of, what are we doing? Why does it take me years and years to do something simple to my own house? Why is it taking, there were celebrities, I forget who it was, like Suzanne Summers or somebody, that when their house burned down last time, they said, I spent 2 years trying to get a permit and we just walked away. We moved to, Nevada or something because we couldn't even get the permits to rebuild our house. So we had to walk away. She has the money to do that. Not everybody else does. So I think really, and this is what I'm saying, the average Joe needs to get this dose of reality of, my house burnt down and they won't let me rebuild it. We're losing my favorite sports team. Like at some point they need to have that reality check of what's going on around here and why is it happening. And maybe like you said, maybe they'll ignore it. Maybe it's too little too late. I don't know. But again, I feel like the average Joe just needs that reality check.
But Bill Maher still leans progressive. Even after all that, he still leans progressive. And it's ingrained in these people. It's not going to change,
No,
and
he was talking to.
What's going to happen?
Do you remember when he was talking to who is it? Jane Fonda? And she is. Obviously, he put her in check. He said, "Look, you don't get it. You don't get what it takes. You don't get what it's like for the average person trying to rebuild." He basically put her in check and said, "You don't get it." Because you've not been through it. So, in his, yes, he still leans left, but at least there's people like him that are sort of coming around and going, look, this is not how we do business. He pushes back on, a lot of the agendas of the left and things like that. So I appreciate that it's possible that there are people that are on the far fringes that finally get tired of it and sort of go, okay, this isn't, I've seen the light, this isn't working.
You know, and then I heard another quote that Gavin Newsom, even though it looks like that there's a chance they might lose some seats to Republicans in California, said they've got to break the glass plan for that. So in other words, they're basically admitting they'll steal the election. I think when it comes down to an actual a program, something somebody wants, public be damned. They don't care how you vote. They're going to do what they want. You mentioned earlier about what could happen to Whiting-Robertsdale here if this stadium thing does come through. And I remember back in the early 2000s when they were talking to NAFTA Highway, there were plans at that time to turn this whole region into a transportation hub. And from everything I heard about it, everything from the lake down to 8094 was going to be concrete. There was a real estate boom on the southeast side of Chicago. People are snapping up real estate because they thought this unbelievable project was going to come through that was going to be based on NAFTA. Well, the only thing folded that up was the banking debacle back in 2007. But it would have happened if things would have progressed. They would have happened. And public be damned. When it comes to actually developing, they don't care what the public does. They don't care what they think. And as far as the neighborhoods, like in Robertsdale, Whiting, 10 years from now, any way you look, it ain't going to be the same. Things change. That's just the way things are. And I'm not saying I'm for it or against it, but it's a fact of life. If you want to look at development, look at Rosemont up in northwest of Chicago. Look at that O'Hare corridor down 294. All the billions of dollars invested in that thing. If you think if there was any chance that Indiana can scarf off any of that toward here, that they would care two licks about what the people in Robertsdale think?
Well, okay, so let me bring that up because I want to talk about that, and Bob, I want to get your take on this. One of the things they talked about on the show, not Jim's show on Friday, was the idea that how great is it that we have this Gary Airport 5 minutes from the new stadium and all this stuff. And I was basically thinking, I said, think about how crazy that is that we've spent $1 billion on the Gary Airport and the Buffalo Bills are going to get to use it more than we will. Do you know what I mean? The Buffalo Bills will fly in there several times a year to play the Bears. They will get to use the airport before we do. Nobody in Gary gets to use that airport, but I'm saying that's my point.
You know why they?
Who paid for it?
Well,
and
you
they
know
get to
why
use
they
it.
never developed the Gary Airport. Cook County's been giving them a stipends every year just to go away,
right?
To keep that thing under wraps. If like I called the governor's office last week about that to mention this is the great opportunity here. Chicago's been basically dumping all over this area for as long as I've been alive. And now you've got an opportunity here to actually go to these airlines and cut some deals and get them out of their leases with the gates over at Midway and O'Hare and move some of these flights over to Gary. The air traffic in this area is saturated, but you can move some of these flights. And now with the fire sale going on in Illinois, it'd be the perfect time to do it. I don't know why they don't, really.
Well, and that's also at 8:30. We're going to have Brian Callies on to talk about the Piatone, the third airport project, even though it's technically the fourth airport. We'll talk about that whole debacle because that's an interesting story as well. But yeah, I mean, again, it's like one of those things. I want to be open-minded. I want to let everybody take their victory lap. But I also, again, I'm a business owner up there. There's lots of people that live up there. They've lived there for 50 years. Their life is about to fundamentally change if this goes through, and I just want to make sure that we don't forget about them, right? So, hey,
right. I remember I was the 1959 World Series. I was a little kid. I remember the Dodgers were playing the White Sox, and they were just starting to get used to the idea of the L.A. Dodgers. They just moved out of Brooklyn like at the end of the 40s, and it was I think if I remember right, they weren't even playing at Dodger Stadium. I think they're playing in a Coliseum or something during the series. But it was like a shock in New York when the Dodgers left Brooklyn. So if the Bears leave Chicago, it would be a shock in the same kind of way to the Chicagoans. But, life goes on. Things like this happen.
Right.
Especially if you neglect your fundamentals, you're going to lose everything.
Well, and again, that's what I'm wondering is, will this be that wake-up call where people, the average Joe six-pack Chicago Bears fan is going to say, they moved. They're no longer the Chicago Bears. Why did that happen? Explain to me why we lost the Chicago Bears. So I don't know. Maybe that will be the wake-up call. I don't know.
I don't think it's the public. I think it's the moneyed interest. Once the moneyed interest realizes what they're losing, I think most of them already love Dodge. But the thing is, maybe that'll turn things around. But the public, they could care less about what the public thinks in any place in this country.
Well, I mean, again, again, maybe that's the philosophy of just, we're going to do things our way, and we know you're going to reelect us, so why should I care what you think? So, hey, appreciate the call.
50 years ago, they gave away all the heavy industry in Chicago and the southeast side. So losing a football team, who cares?
No, right, exactly. So, okay, thank you so much. Appreciate the call. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, it's always interesting to see when you go to like an antique store or something, the amount of stuff that used to be built in Chicago is just anything that was built 100 years ago probably has the word Chicago stamped on it. And every time I see these things, I mean, everything, every little nut and bolt, every little, mechanism, all of these things were built in a little factory on the west side or the south side of Chicago. And you ask yourself, where did, when all those jobs went to China or Mexico, what did all those people do? Right. I mean, I assume most of them moved here. So let's take one more call and we'll take a break. And we're going till 8 o'clock with, we'll have Fox Point come in. So good morning, caller, you're on the air.
What's up, fellas?
Okay, go ahead. Give me your lecture. Take your victory lap.
Well, I got to tell you, having Beckwith on is great. I love his anti-Muslim cult on there. That was fantastic. Although I'd have to disagree with him a little. Loving the Muslims, because aren't they the guys that always strap on those vests that blow up everybody and stuff? So, yeah, I'm not sure I'm even on with that crew at all. But
hey, I need you to do me. Hang on, real quick. Let me reiterate what I said earlier. You're at an 11. I need you to take it down to a 7 or an 8. How about that? Same thing I told the lieutenant governor. Just take it down to a 7 or 8, and we'll be good. You're at an 11. Bring it down just a little bit, 20%.
Just keep the pedal to the metal. Hey, so I got a T-shirt idea for you, Chuck. It says in bright colors and all the LGBT tranny colors. It starts out. It says, "I have pride in dash," and then on the bottom it says Nuclear Family Month in Indiana, because that's fantastic. I love that. I didn't know we had Nuclear Family Month, but now I'm going to have to get myself a Nuclear Family Pride T-shirt of some sort, because got to tell you, that girl that's winning all the contests in the state of California, I'll tone it down, but I think she's got man's junk down below, which makes her a boy. Can't do that.
I'm gonna need you to bring it down to a 5. How about that? How about bring it down?
5, okay.
5.
So, okay. Well, here's the thing.
Where is the basement floor? Okay, here.
Okay,
Bears.
go ahead. Keep going.
Breaking news: the Bears are not coming to Indiana. If they wanted to come to Indiana, they would have been here by now. All they're waiting for is that gigantic toilet-crushing governor over in Illinois to come up with $1 billion out of the couch cushions for Arlington Heights, and that will be that.
Well, look at this though.
They're not coming.
Let's look at it this way.
They're not coming, Chuck.
No, here's the thing. No, I do agree with you, but think about what a great position they put themselves in. Indiana basically said, "Hey, $1 billion, blank check. We're in." It took us. What did it take them? An hour? I mean, again.
Yeah.
So they have put themselves. I mean, again, art of the deal, as Trump would say. You put yourself in a position where you have people bidding for you. So basically, you've got a $1 billion bid on the table. You're right. And so this is sort of their last, I use the example of it's like the little kid who says, "I'm running away from home," and they start packing their bags. We all know you're not leaving, but you're putting on a good show. I completely agree with you that they are basically saying, we're going to take our football and go to Indiana unless you come up with a damn good deal. And I think Illinois is going to come up with that deal. But if they don't, if they say, no, this is the one time we're going to be fiscally conservative, then the Bears can just pack and go, right? So, I mean, they are in a really good position.
But even if they don't get it, somehow someone's going to make some fake spreadsheet or whatever they have to do, and the McCaskies will hold it up and go, now we've been saved and we're staying. Even if it costs them money, they'll do it under the table. Do you think the McCaskies limousines coming out of Lake Forest where they live, you think they want to drive to Hammond? No, they want to go right down the expressway to Arlington Heights, nice and easy. They don't want to have anything to do with Indiana. None.
No, I completely agree.
Heights.
I completely agree. There's going to be
Galaxy Markets have Bears going to Indiana only 52%. 47% says they stay in Illinois.
That's about where I'm at. I said
3 weeks.
No, I agree. We're the announcement on Friday put them a little over the top. I was saying like 60-40, but yeah, 52-55. We've got a slight advantage, but it is not over yet. I completely agree. And all of these people that are wearing their Hammond Bear shirts.
It's a total falsehood.
Yeah, no, I agree. Don't buy your Hammond Bears T-shirt quite yet. So okay, we can agree on that.
Unless you're buying
from Couch Wolf. Go ahead.
Unless you're buying from Couch Wolf.
Go ahead.
Yeah, hey, by the way, the funniest thing I heard on the radio today was when Jimmy said to you, "Hey, get your facts straight." He kept coming from Jimmy.
But again, his name
boys,
was on the show. It's like your show. Even though you walked away, your name was still on that show. So you started the show. It's your show.
Disconnected, Mike.
But again, I mean, kudos to them.
Back when the JOB in 19. Oh my Lord, hang up on him.
Okay, so I'm going to hang up on you too because let's take a quick break. We're going to take some more calls. We're going till 8 o'clock. You want to do that, Lynette? Or okay? So let's take a quick break. We'll be back. We'll take your calls here till 8 o'clock. You're listening to WGOB. We're taking calls show on WGOB.
Tech Credit Union supports the essential role of union labor in building strong communities. That's why we offer hassle-free banking, financial empowerment, and a commitment to your success. Save for the future, handle life's challenges, and trust a partner that stands by hardworking union members. Tech Credit Union, the better option for you and your money. Visit techcu.org or call 800-276-8324. Tech Credit Union, supporting union families every step of the way.
Are you searching for a college where you belong? Calumet College of St. Joseph wants to know you and give you the support you need to succeed. Are you worried about how you'll pay for your degree? 95% of our students receive financial aid, including scholarships and grants. Need some extra help with your classes? You'll benefit from our small class sizes, free tutoring, internship planning, faculty mentors, and so much more. Come experience our accepting, supportive college family for yourself. Schedule your campus visit and apply at ccsj.edu.
Enjoy the taste of summer at the Farmers Market at Fox Point. Every Tuesday from 9 to 1, shop locally grown fresh produce, delicious baked goods, artisanal treats, and local culinary creations. Just minutes from I-8094, the Farmers Market at Fox Point in Lansing, Illinois is a perfect spot to hear acoustic musicians, stretch with morning yoga, and enjoy community fun throughout the season. To see all vendors and entertainment, visit foxpoint.org. That's point with an E, foxpoint.org.
We've had some cars run into the barrier wall, not paying attention. They were on their phone.
Texting, scrolling. Yeah, it's bad.
Most often they be on their phones or they're just not paying attention. They can cause a crash.
We could stand on the side of the road and watch every other vehicle looking down into their lap as they're passing us. You know what they're looking at. They're looking at their phone.
Phones. On their phones, not paying attention. Phones.
I'm not a mathematician, but I say probably about 80% of the people who pass me are on their telephones.
No call, text, or video is worth putting yourself or a road worker in danger. When driving through construction, LIUNA members ask you for your sake and ours.
Slow down, stay off your phone, please. Be aware where we're at, where the cone zones are at.
Stay off your phones and buckle up and drive safe.
We're not asking for much.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
7:55 in the region. We're taking your phone calls for the next few minutes, and then we've got Fox Point coming in to talk about all of the great events taking place over there. Great facility. You should check it out if you haven't been there. So let's take your calls. Let's take the next call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
The Lieutenant Governor made a very good point about Republicans, namely, as compared to Democrats. Democrats understand the two major party system. You debate and discuss and fetch during the primary. Once the primary is decided, you back your candidate, period. Republicans don't seem to understand that at all. Going back to the days when I lived in Illinois, I started out as an independent conservative. I basically supported the most conservative candidate, either Republican or Democrat. And I got to pretty good knowledge about the differences between Republicans and Democrats. And then Reagan came along, and his policy toward the Soviet Union was, they lose, we win. And that's when I registered as a Republican. That's when I became actively involved in the grassroots of the Republican Party. So I took on a precinct worked the precinct. I turned the precinct. It was a switch hitter. Within 2 or 3 years, became a solid Republican vote getter. No haranguing people about abortion, no haranguing people about Second Amendment. But in any case, one thing I learned about Republicans is they just don't get it. It's two major party politics. He was talking. He admitted that the Democrats, when it comes to the after the primary, they back their guy. They would support a retarded monkey if the Democrats put up, and you can see how far they're willing to.
I understand that, Walt, but here's the thing that's changed in your lifetime, though. We have to remember that the majority of voters, especially young people, no longer consider themselves Democrat or Republican. So this idea that you're saying the Republicans need to come together, you're right. But the majority of us don't consider ourselves either one. So at the end of the day, you're getting 15% voter turnout in the primaries. Most of the voters are coming in for the general. So that's the thing. I understand this idea that you have to appeal to your base to win the primary, but then you have to pivot. But again, what's changed in your lifetime is the majority of voters are no longer Democrats or Republicans. So this is my point to the Lieutenant Governor, is he needs to dial it back a little bit so he doesn't disenfranchise that majority of voters that are sort of just looking for, they're not hard R, they're not hard D, they're just, I'm here to pick the guy and in the general. And that's what I'm saying, is he just needs to be able to pivot back to the center to appeal to those people, because I think he's a good guy and he's got good ideas, but all the stuff he says is going to disenfranchise them, and they're going to, that's what the newspapers are going to write about. This guy Micah who, hates all these people and all. That's what I'm saying, is that he's giving them so much ammunition that when he does run for governor, they're going to come after him hard. So, but okay, I appreciate the call, Walt. Do we have any more? We have one more. I appreciate the call, Walt. We'll talk again soon. We got 2 more. Okay, let's power through a couple calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning, sir. We got to make it real quick. But if I hear a chirp, I'm driving to your house. I'm just telling you.
Well, now hold on. Now you trying to make it. Why did we start out that way?
Because just like Trucker Mike, it took me 2 weeks to get him to change his battery.
You're dealing with last week.
I live in the past, but we got to be quick because we got Fox Point coming in. So make a point, and we can talk again after that.
You talk about this morning. You started out early talking about corruption in L.A. with the voting thing. Now, talk about the corruption in Washington. Nobody talks about that. We're not talking. We're talking about the situation where Cronin out of Texas, he was defeated. Trump has a person who's running right now, and has all kinds of corruption. So this is the kind of government that we have right now. We get caught up into what's happening in Chicago, but we never talk about what's happening in Washington, D.C.
We can talk about it right now. We're $39 trillion in debt thanks to both parties. We're in a lot of trouble. We have a bleak financial future due to the spending of both parties. You're gonna say Trump spent $12 trillion of that. Completely agree. Every president outspends a lot. I completely agree with all of that. But I can't do anything about Washington. I can do something about what's happening in my neighborhood and in my state.
Okay. Let me ask you this: do you believe that last election was stolen? Do you believe that the Democrats stole that election away from down when Biden won? Do you?
Which one are you talking about? The fraud. What I've said before.
Do you believe that there was the election was stolen? That's what
I don't believe it was. Listen, yes, I don't believe it was stolen, but I also will say that there are a lot of questions. Again, I grew up in East Chicago where an entire primary was thrown out due to election fraud. I think that there are a lot of questions about how we do things. And if you want to, I think we need to tighten up the process so that you can't say that the election was stolen. Both parties. Hillary still said that the election was stolen from her too. So you can't say it's just Trump. Hillary still goes on tour and says the election was stolen from her too. Both sides do it.
But she basically went and to the inauguration of Donald Trump, and she let it go. But this guy here, he called down to Georgia, and matter of fact, he's against this guy in Georgia. Can you find me some votes? Say, man, I can't find anything wrong. So he spent the last few years talking about this thing, and this person now. So what happened? Ratzenberger, I think, was his name. He was the Secretary of State, and basically, so Trump put somebody up against him. So again, he's putting somebody up against all the people that. A matter of fact, if you agree with everything that Donald Trump is doing, he will support you. I don't care if you're a crook or whatever. He don't care. So I'm just simply saying we need to be careful about who we support. If let's say if Kamala Harris had been doing the stuff that this guy is doing now, people would have beat her down. Now, and then finally, let me just make it. You told me make it quick. I'm trying to make it. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris both said they was against the buying of U.S. Steel, the Nippon. Do you know what Donald Trump said here lately? He's got stock in U.S.
I agree. Nobody in Washington should be insider trading.
Nobody. He's a liar.
So again, every congressman has made tens of millions of dollars. Again, you want to make it about Trump, make it about the system that's corrupt, that allows insider trading, allows these people to use information to make money, whether it's options, Bitcoin, buying stocks, whatever it is. Talk about, let's work together to fix the system. Don't say, let's just get rid of Trump and the problem goes away, because it doesn't. The system is broken, and getting rid of Trump is not going to solve it. So, but we do need to go. I appreciate the call. We'll do it again soon. It is 8:03 in the region. You're listening to AM 1230, 104.7, beautiful Hammond, Indiana. Do we have one more call? We're good? Okay, so we're going to take a break. We'll be back with who's doing what?
Fox Point.
Fox Point will be back. I'm getting out of here. We'll be back with Brian Callies at 8:30. We're going to be talking about the Piatone Airport. So stick around. Check out Fox Point. It's a cool little place.
Planting a tree, installing a fence, whether your project is big or small, NIPSCO reminds you to know what's below and contact 811 at least 2 full business days before doing any digging so that utility companies can mark the location of their underground lines. Contacting 811 is free, and it's the law. Avoid possible penalties, costly repairs, or injuries. DIY or a pro, safety is in your hands. Every dig, every time.
We've had some cars run into the barrier wall, not paying attention. They were on their phone.
Texting, scrolling. Yeah, it's bad.
Most often they be on their phones or they're just not paying attention. They can cause a crash.
We could stand on the side of the road and watch every other vehicle looking down into their lap as they're passing us. You know what they're looking at. They're looking at their phone.
Phones. On their phones, not paying attention. Phones.
I'm not a mathematician, but I say probably about 80% of the people who pass me are on their telephones.
No call, text, or video is worth putting yourself or a road worker in danger. When driving through construction, LIUNA members ask you for your sake and ours.
Slow down, stay off your phone, please. Be aware where we're at, where the cone zones are at.
Stay off your phones and buckle up and drive safe.
We're not asking for much.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Plumbers Local 210 is building the future, and we're looking for service plumbers to join our team. Our training center invests nearly $500,000 every year to make sure our members are the best in the industry. From a 5-year apprenticeship and an associate degree at Ivy Tech to ongoing certifications in safety and new technology, our plumbers are trained for excellence. Every member is drug tested and licensed for your safety and peace of mind. When you need plumbing work done, make sure you ask for the license. It's your right to ask.
It's the simplest expression. The smallest thing that changes everything. A smile. So easy. A smile lights it up. Apologizes. And welcomes unconditionally. Because the shortest distance between two people is a smile.
Thank you.
Strachan Van Til, where making life easier starts with a smile.
Hey, everybody. AM 1230, WJOB 104.7 FM, the voice and face of the region. My name's Jim Diedlow. I kind of come and go at times, but I want to say thank you to Bob Starkey and Chuck Pullen and all the rest of the people that are kind of keeping the seat warm over the summer, and to Lynette Lopez, who is the producer here this morning. But Bob, thank you. I know you guys gobble up a lot of airtime in the morning, and people love listening and watching you guys. And I just hope you don't get better than I am.
That could never happen. That could never happen.
That was an inside joke for Mr. Starkey. You don't realize that Starkey used to be the voice. If it sounds familiar when you're listening, and you ever used to go to a show at the Holiday Star and you heard that voice on the PA, that was
I can do it very well.
I know you are. Well, you were the voice. You could do yourself very well. All right, give us one. Hey, it's going into intermission. What would you say?
Oh, I'm not a monkey. I can't just poke me with a stick and say dance.
I think they did at Holiday Star for a long time. No, but if you recognize that voice, that's kind of where I think Bob's got a background in radio, and it certainly shows. 294 around the city looks good. 80 going east and west looks good to Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway, Toll Road, Borman. I don't know why it's been so light. Starkey, is there any... I mean, did school end in Chicago Public Schools or something?
And it stopped. I don't know why, but all of the 80s and all the 94s are fine today.
I know. Isn't that weird? Lynette, what do you got in some weather?
Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 70 degrees, highs of 81 and lows of 69. Going to have some cloudy and should be humid with a thunderstorm or two this afternoon. Then Tuesday we'll be having highs of 88 and lows of 71 with some cloudiness and a thunderstorm. Should be warmer and humid. And Wednesday we'll be having highs of 92 and lows of 71. Should be we'll be having cloudiness, breezy, hot, and humid with a thunderstorm.
We are going to do a special segment right here, so we're going to do about 5 seconds of quiet, and we're going to go straight into it. Hey, everybody, I'm Jim Diedlow. He's Bob Starkey, and we do some special segments from time to time to promote what's going on around the region. Today, we're looking at Fox Point. If you don't know what that is, I don't know where the heck you've been for the last few years, but they have an amazing farmers market, and they also have an amazing little venue in downtown Lansing. And here to talk about that is Michelle Henderson. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
All right, I'm going to ask you to move up real tight.
Is that better?
And Bob Starkey's here. He, of course, right across the way, and you guys know each other well, right?
Yeah.
We do. We've so as the town of Dyer, we've leaned on Michelle a few times for some of our events, and honestly, extremely jealous that Lansing was able to nab you, because we see. I mean, you had your opening day last weekend, and the slate of what you have planned for the summer, I think, would make any municipality just excited. So, yeah.
And it's all because of Michelle Henderson?
That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, that's what I said. Michelle, I'm going to make you get up uncomfortably on that microphone.
Got it.
Hey, Michelle, Fox Point is where?
We are located at 18138 Henry Street in Lansing. So it's a hidden gem just off of Ridge Road.
Why is it a hidden gem?
Because a lot of people don't know about it.
Yet. You had 2,500 people there on Wednesday.
We did.
And as Ken Henderson says...
Ken Reynolds.
Ken Reynolds, I'm sorry. Michelle Reynolds and Ken Henderson. I am dyslexic, just so you know
it's okay.
that. Yeah, so sorry about that, Ken. But the 2,500 people coming to downtown Lansing, many of them, if not most, are Indiana license plates.
Correct, yeah. We pull from right across the border.
It's kind of a timely, I guess, thing that's happening, in that we're trying to pull from across the border with the Bears, and Lansing is pulling across the border with Indiana people coming over to basically see how it's done in a downtown area. How does that make it more attractive to have an actual downtown area?
So a lot of the people that come in, whether they're residents or coming over the border, a lot of times they're just driving through on Ridge Road. They don't know Fox Point exists. And once they find out, then they're coming to Lansing more often. They're hitting the local restaurants right there in the downtown and just discovering what we have out there.
So we've been running the spots, and obviously Fox Point has become a big part of what we're doing here over the summer. But I had a buddy that went out there, and he was just like, I can't even understand that this is here on a Wednesday night, and there's 2,500 people there at Fox Point. I know the band was good, but, I mean, why are you guys on Wednesday nights?
I think that's just the lane they picked before I started. So I've been with Lansing for a little over a year now, and Wednesdays seem to work for them, and it's Wednesday. They're known for their Wednesday nights, and they're sticking with that.
I mean, there's a lot of, obviously you go down Ridge Road, and there's Wicker Park on Thursdays. There's certainly Friday, Saturday concerts all over the place. So it kind of makes sense to be on Wednesdays. So we'll go through that schedule here in a minute. But you also have something starting in about, I think it starts at 9 or 8?
9 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yep.
So it'll be 24 hours and a few minutes. If you're listening to this at another time, that doesn't make any sense. But on Tuesdays, you have what?
So beginning tomorrow, Tuesday, June 9th, is our first ever farmers market at Fox Point.
How many vendors?
Tomorrow we'll be starting off with 29 vendors.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Isn't that a lot? I was like 29 vendors
That's
at
pretty
9
good
o'clock
for,
on a Tuesday morning for the
Yeah.
first ever farmers market. What are they going to be selling?
We have everything from, so we have Taco Bouchon doing Mexican food. We have Golden Dome Pizza Company with wood-fired pizza. Ben's Pretzels will be there. We have Traveling Toms of Tinley Park, so iced coffee, lattes. We have Buen Grow, so a lot of plants, flowers for the garden. We have Bennett Farms out of Michigan, so they'll have a lot of meats and dairy products, and just a random of craft vendors, a lot of homemade artisan items, baked goods, breads.
So you get fruits and vegetables too, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something we're struggling with farmers. There's kind of a gap right now. So I have a...
Sweet corn hasn't quite hit.
Not
and
yet.
that's
I
a bit,
would imagine
yeah.
the majority of that stuff probably hits later July
like
and
July
August.
is, yeah.
So, yeah, they're not really harvesting anything right now. You go to the grocery store and you see a lot of Brazilian corn on the cob and Brazilian cherries and some apples from Central America,
Right,
and that stuff, once it hits, I'm sure it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, there will be some people there with some produce.
Yeah. So the schedule changes week by week. So we have full season vendors, half season vendors, and weekly vendors. So participation varies by week. But
So if somebody's listening and they are a vendor or they have a food truck, is it set before the season, or can they be added as you go along?
They can still be added. So if you're interested, visit foxpoint.org or just get a hold of me and we'll get you an application.
And what is do you want to give your email out?
Yeah.
Yeah, give your email out.
Yeah.
Not your phone number.
Okay. My email, it's M for Michelle Henderson, HENDERSON at villageoflansing.org.
Okay, so let's go through some of this stuff. You have I think a Hispanic-based band coming up in 2 days. Who's that?
Yeah, so for our next Wednesday concert, it is a group called Rico. And inspired by the sound and spirit of Santana, Rico blends Latin rock, soul, funk, blues, and Afro-Cuban rhythms into a unique live performance that has become a favorite throughout the region.
All right, let's just go through it all the way through June, and then we'll get to July at your next visit. But Wednesday, June 17th is... wait a second. Are these adults only?
Nope, all ages.
And how much does it cost?
It is free to attend.
No wonder why there's 2,500.
Yeah, $2,500 on a Wednesday night when the weather's good to go listen to some music and have something to eat, sit on the grass. Yeah.
I mean... Bob and I can say this because we're representing the Indiana side of the line, but it's basically 2,500 cheap region rats that came out last week Wednesday.
They weren't cheap at the bar or the concession.
No,
so.
that's it.
Yeah.
And just to understand, and I asked about the business model. I'm like, all right, well, most other venues charge some sort of admission, but if you run it really efficiently, you can basically pay for most of the stuff off the bar, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's just the reality of it. But you have to run efficiently and not let it balloon on your costs.
Right.
And by, it's the same thing we have with streaming. We streamed and everybody paid. And what if we did it for free? Well, we can make it up on the advertising. You guys are making it up on the food and drink.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, also the boy band night. Who is that on Wednesday, June 17th?
Boy band night. So you're going to get all your hits from Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. So a lot of the ladies enjoy that concert.
Well, they bring their kids?
Yeah.
Oh, this is what I was into, dude.
Yeah.
In sync. Oh gosh.
Dude, yes. A bunch of region moms heading over with their kids. Hey, dude.
Yeah.
And then also you got Juneteenth. What's that?
So Juneteenth is sponsored by our HRC, which is the Human Relations Commission. So it's an event that they have, and there will be just kind of information about the Juneteenth, and they'll have a DJ, some free food, and just...
And that's on Friday, June 19th from 6 to 9. Of course, you got the farmers market every Tuesday. You know what? I think I'm out of town. I got to go somewhere to something tomorrow, but I won't be there tomorrow. But I'll ride my bike over the following Tuesday. It's right there with the backpack, so I could bring I can bring my stuff home. But to me, Tuesday morning, I mean, I'm looking for things to do during the day. We finish the show, and you're like, oh, what's going on? Mm-hmm. That farmer's market runs from 9 to 1 on Tuesday mornings. But later in June, on a Friday, you have a special concert of Beyond the Blonde. What is that?
Yeah, so Beyond the Blonde is going to be a lot of your girl power music. So Lady Gaga, No Doubt, just a variety. And then so our Friday night lights
Gwen
concerts.
Stefani and you got Lady Gaga, Pink, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so once again, a lot of women coming out and liking Beyond the Blonde. All right, what was the next thing?
So for our Friday Night Lights series, those are a little different this year. We are stacking our headliners. So instead of like a opener and then like a main tribute act, it's going to be tribute and tribute. So, for example, you'll see on the schedule, we'll do a Marrakesh Express and an Echoes of Pompeii. And then the different
when is that? That's in August?
That's in July.
Yeah, okay. So that one's part of the Friday Night Lights, which is a different series from your Wednesday concert series. And is Friday Night Lights, how much does that cost?
$0.
Like Spicoli, don't cost nothing?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, don't cost nothing. I think you have one, though, that you pay for over the summer, correct?
Mm-hmm. So I'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
So for the Friday Night Lights, what's different about our Wednesdays, it's, like I said, the stacked headliners, and we'll be featuring food trucks, food vendors along Randolph Street.
On
our Fridays.
On Fridays along Randolph Street. Randolph is basically the same is the east-west street right down.
Correct. It runs within the venue, right behind the stage, just alongside the Penzie Greenway.
So if you guys are trying to picture this in downtown Lansing, you're going in from Indiana to Illinois, and you get to, I think it's Wentworth first, and then you go into the downtown area. It is actually north of the major intersection of the bike trail and all that stuff, and it's like right there, and it's kind of hidden. You don't really see it until you get into it, how beautiful it is inside, but it's right there. All right, what else? What's next?
So let's see, just kind of jumping
the
through
cookout. The Great American Cookout?
Oh, yeah. So for America 250, we're having Lansing's Great American Cookout. It's open to the public, geared towards Lansing residents. So it's just come out, have a good time. You can get your free food while supplies last. There'll be some miscellaneous food vendors on site for purchase. We will have our Lansing Public Library partnering with us. They're going to be doing American Revolution trivia under the pavilion, so people can sign up, get teams. We'll have cornhole matches. We will have a gaming truck, a golf simulator, just a lot of family-friendly activities like picnic style.
And Bob Starkey's favorite on July 8th is the Hairbangers Ball.
That's right, folks. I'm here for it. I was nervous the entire time you were speaking. I was trying to, what is on July 8th? That'll be fun.
I won't be there that night, just so you know. I'll be at some of these other ones, especially Marrakesh and Pompeii. That's probably my favorite lineup, and I'm sure that'll be a big night anyways. But what is Hairbangers Ball?
A lot of Hairbangers music.
All right.
It's one of our other
so
biggest
neither
crowds
one of
that
you
we
guys
had.
are into Hairbangers. All right, good enough. We'll just leave it at that.
I'm very versatile in music, so I love all.
All right, so that's enough of what's coming up in the next month. So, Michelle, you do this. This is kind of your gig. Where was this kind of industry 10 years ago from where it is right now in terms of the summer concert series?
Just in general?
Yeah, just in general.
I think it was there, but there are a lot of venues within, the Chicago Southland and the Northwest Indiana side. And over time, it just grew. And where a lot of other municipalities like, oh, we want to do this, we want to do this. So if it's done right, I think it's going to be very successful. So it's definitely grown over the 10 years. Like I said, they were miscellaneous, go to like a regular Wednesday night concert series. We're just probably a local small group and maybe a few hundred, but
I mean, to put it in perspective, I actually wrote a poem complaining about everything getting stacked into basically a 2.5 month period of June 1-ish to August 15th when the kids go back to school. And the schedule of what you could do basically every night in the Calumet region. You could go to a place, and if it's Fox Point, I think Griffith Central Park doesn't charge either, and some of the other ones, you could go for free, put your lawn chair out there and sit and watch music, maybe go buy a beer, maybe buy some ribs or something, and just sit there. But it's so concentrated. Like, all we get is 2.5 months of really good weather without school going on. It just kind of gets a little bit much after a while. But you guys are part of that game, and I think that the region has kind of responded, and people are understanding, like, some of the church festivals have gone away or have gotten smaller. And to me, a lot of the venues have taken that place. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So one of those is in Bob Starkey. They're I mean, you guys are in this game now too, right?
And we took a lot of our inspiration. We knew it was something we wanted to do. I know a lot of folks. There's certain markers in time that folks go back to. And to your point about the communities taking this on, I really think after COVID was big, where now you can have these weekly, monthly community events where you're not going to these massive stadiums where they're selling out with tens of thousands of people. You're looking at 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 folks all spread out on an open lawn, and I think it's a good way to. I'm not sure what that sound effect was.
That was probably somebody. That was somebody's phone, right?
Yeah, that was somebody's phone. But to say that, again, if it's done right, municipalities can offer just these. I like to think of it as quality of life boosters. But when we started down that path, we went to Fox Point. I mean, that was we stole your architect, we stole the general contractor, and. Because we saw that was a really good model and something that we could afford in Dyer, meaning, we're not going to build a Tinley Park. I wouldn't even say what name that venue is because it changes every 6 months. But that idea of having some centrally located, place where the residents can show up. And like you said, it's, during the summer, during the week, I think ours are on, we're going to be doing like Tuesdays, every other Tuesday. But that idea that residents can just come out like a Fox Point. We're not charging you anything. Just come on out, bring a lawn chair, get something to eat or drink, and have a good night. You're right. That really has taken the place of a lot of the church festivals. We've seen a lot of those go away. Most municipalities have some type of, big carnival event, but that's just one weekend. What are you doing the rest of the time? And to see a schedule like at Fox Point and a variety of things, whether it's on a Tuesday morning for a farmer's market or the Wednesday night concerts, just to have a venue where you can do that is really important.
Michelle, where'd you go to high school?
I went to Griffith High School.
So the dynamics in Griffith.
Yes.
And I think when I look at what you guys are doing, certainly Dyer is building their own, and there are other communities that have done really good jobs. But you grew up there, and they basically made a dedication to like be festival land for the future, and have been successful. I look at you guys kind of doing that right across the state line. I mean, it's the dedication to these concerts brings the whole community together, bringing a lot of people over from Indiana, and it has kind of done what it's supposed to do, right?
It has, yeah.
So in general, what does it do for the community having these things? Like, what's it do for the downtown area?
It brings in revenue to the businesses. We call it like invisible revenue, because once they're coming to our venue, after that, they can go out to whether it's Kilroy's or Wine Bar down the street. So they're putting money back into the community as well.
Sometimes they didn't know there was a hardware store there or a gun
right.
shop.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Cultures,
You bring them down
80s.
and you're like, hey, there's a gun shop there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm tired of waiting 4 weeks to get my gun cleaned. You know, I think maybe I'll see what they're doing over here. And then the same thing with, I'm buying my fertilizer. I go there all the time. I live pretty close and go there right in at downtown Lansing. So anything else you want to bring up about this?
Oh, yeah, just real quick. So for our market kicks off tomorrow, opening the season, we will have live music from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. featuring Pamela Rocha.
Wait, during the farmer's market?
During the farmer's market.
Wow, 11 o'clock in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it'll be good. They'll be played on the stage, and then music will be every other week, and then next Tuesday, June 16th, we'll kick off morning yoga, and that'll be family-friendly for the first 4 sessions.
Now you're talking Jim's language.
Yeah.
You're not going to have goats, are you?
No, not yet. No,
Don't
no,
do
no
that.
goats.
Goats is just a fad, man.
I know.
Not only that, I don't mind if somebody comes out and takes a picture and posts, hey, there's Jed the morning or the guy on WJOB looking stupid in his yoga. But can you imagine what MX would do with a picture of a goat on my back when I was doing yoga?
Right now, there's half a dozen people in Lansing wondering if they had to buy goats.
All right, no. No goats.
Hey, Michelle Henderson, thanks a lot to Ken Reynolds. He kind of is the backbone on this, likes to stay in the background, but he roamed the benches at TF South for a long time as baseball coach, if that name sounds familiar. So if you ever don't have 15 minutes, just bring up the word baseball in front of Ken, and your time is taken up. But hey, thank you, and thanks for bringing your business here, and we appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Bob Starkey. Until next time, we'll see you later.
We've had some cars run into the barrier wall, not paying attention. They were on their phone.
Texting, scrolling. Yeah, it's bad.
Most often they be on their phones or they're just not paying attention. They can cause a crash.
We could stand on the side of the road and watch every other vehicle looking down into their lap as they're passing us. You know what they're looking at. They're looking at their phone.
Phones. On their phones, not paying attention. Phones.
I'm not a mathematician, but I say probably about 80% of the people who pass me are on their telephones.
No call, text, or video is worth putting yourself or a road worker in danger. When driving through construction, LIUNA members ask you for your sake and ours.
Slow down, stay off your phone, please. Be aware where we're at, where the cone zones are at.
Stay off your phones and buckle up and drive safe.
We're not asking for much.
This is Brian Short, Business Manager for the Indiana Laborers District Council. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
Are you sausage curious?
Who's ready for Polish?
Big Frank Sausage has the very best Polish food in the region.
You had a mouthful of Big Frank sausage?
We have a full bar, dine-in, carry-out, delivery, and catering available.
I've had a mouthful of Big Frank sausage.
I've got a mouthful full of Big Frank sausage.
219-378-9556. Smacznego i na zdrowie.
Who's ready for Polish?
IBEW Local 697 electrical contractors bring the highest standard of electrical work to Lake County homes, schools, and businesses. From everyday fixes to once-in-a-lifetime builds, we don't just get the job done, we get it done right and up to the highest safety standards. When you need electrical work, hire the professionals who power Indiana. Powering Indiana, Lake County, bringing excellence to the job, creating a brighter future for our community.
Ennegenberg Roofing offers roof replacements, repairs, and new construction. CertainTeed Shingle Master certified, our goal is to treat every customer and project with respect, courtesy, and honesty. Serving Northwest Indiana for over 63 years, contact us for a free roof replacement estimate at 219-365-8879. Mention this ad and receive a free upgrade to CertainTeed Pro Shingles. And Ennegenberg Roofing, 219-365-8879.
8:33. We're back for a few more minutes. Let's take a quick look at traffic and weather. Traffic in Indiana, everything looking fantastic. 80/465 Skyway Toll Road. The only thing to keep an eye out for is Klein Avenue south of the expressway. You've got some construction going on there. Don't know quite how bad that is. So if you're in that area, let us know at some point what's going on, how it looks. On the Illinois side, Dan Ryan getting heavy Skyway on in. Bishop Ford still looking good all the way to the merge. South end of the Dan Ryan looking good. 80 looking good. 294, 394, all the 94s looking good. So if you, other than inbound Dan Ryan, everything else looking fantastic. How's the weather?
Sorry about that. Good morning, everyone. Today we're at 70 degrees with highs of 81 and lows of 69. Going to have some cloudiness and should be humid with a thunderstorm or two this afternoon. Then tomorrow on Tuesday we'll be having highs of 88 and lows of 71 with some cloudiness and a thunderstorm. Should be warmer and humid. And then Wednesday we'll be having highs of 92 and lows of 71 with some cloudiness, breezy, hot and humid with a thunderstorm.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Let's get right to the old Zoom line. Brian and Tom, can you hear me? You there?
Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'd say go ahead and Lynette, just leave it like that, or just kind of minimize like the thing on the right, and then we'll just kind of go back and forth. So guys, we are live on the radio, so be on your best behavior. You know, I know Brian, you got that sailor mouth, but okay, so let's jump right into it. You guys are just finished a documentary called Holding Pattern. We spent the day talking about like the bears and all that's going on. We're always, this area is always going from like one big transformational project to another. And one of the things that's always interesting is one of the things I was talking about earlier is sort of, you know, the consequences of those projects. Like this idea of the Bear Stadium moving to Northwest Indiana, how's it going to affect the people that live in that neighborhood? How's it going to affect traffic, the businesses that are there? So we always talk about these transformational projects, but we don't always talk about sort of the collateral damage along the way. And it looks like from what I've seen, your documentary kind of touches on that. So why don't you guys, so we got Brian Callies, Tom Desch, you guys did, so you Everglades of the North, Heroes on Deck. Tom did Walkable USA about Hammond, Indiana. All great stories, all great documentaries. Go ahead and introduce yourselves. Let's talk a little bit about what you're working on.
All right, I'll start off. My name is Tom Desch. I'm the director of this project, and I kind of started it, gosh, over 20 years ago. That's kind of how long this project has kind of been in the public consciousness. And if you really dig into the news articles, it even goes back further than that. And we're really excited to announce that we're having a screening this coming Saturday, June 13th, at the Chicago History Museum. It's the premiere of the project, and it's been a long time coming. So, you know, it's 25 plus years of work. So come on out and see what a 25-year documentary looks like.
Hey, Brian, jump in. Introduce yourself. Tell people about you.
And you are on mute, Brian.
Come on, Brian. Okay, well.
I swear I use computers on a daily basis.
Everybody's done it once. You look fantastic, though. So tell people about yourself. So you're welcome.
Out of the way.
Go ahead.
So I'm Brian Callies. I am the producer and editor on Tom's documentary. And I was Johnny come lately on this. I think the first interview I did with Tom was in 2005. So I have a solid 20 years on this. But Tom started, I think, when? In 2000.
2002. Yeah, right out of college. I actually I like to just say that, as you know, my job has just been to dupe my friends into working on this project. It started in 2002 with a couple of college classmates who started working on it, and then when they kind of decided they wanted to move on to greener pastures, I was, kind of desperate for somebody to help me with this, and Brian luckily was willing to come on board and become a full creative partner on it.
So it's interesting.
The good and I was going to say the good and sad. Well, the sad and also the good thing for us making the film is that it is such a long arc. The bad news is that, Tom jumped in halfway through this saga, so to speak, because really since 1985, it's been sort of, building up like that. But my gosh, on both sides, there needs to be some kind of resolution. So it's just, yes, we may, the film and everything, but these are real people's lives that have been going on, that have been under this, one way or the other. When is this thing going to be built? Is it going to be built? And there's so much uncertainty surrounding it. Thousands of people have just been in limbo, hence the name holding pattern.
Right. Well, and it's one thing, we've seen several transformational projects here in the region, but there's also, like you said, there's sort of we know it's going to happen even here at the Bears. We know this isn't going to get dragged out for 20 years. So you will have some resolution. But again, that's sort of the thing that I'm hearing right now from those people in the neighborhood is am I going to lose my house? Are they going to what is my neighborhood going to become a parking lot? What's going to happen? But hopefully it doesn't get dragged out for 20 years. I mean, and I think that's almost worse. It's one thing to just sort of, okay, we know it's coming. You go to a meeting, there's a red X in your house, somebody comes in with a packet, you have a year or two. But in this case, like you said, you've got 20 years of these people living in a lot of farm community and stuff like that, where they just don't know what's going to happen. But it was interesting. I was watching, watching the clip that you sent me, and it's funny to see how long it's been going on when you have several generations of politicians sort of saying the same thing. You know what I mean? I mean, it's sort of the thing. It's it's always been sort of this dangling carrot, but it's interesting because you also talk about, we always say it's the third airport, but really one of the things we talked about earlier on the show, it technically would be the fourth airport because Gary was supposed to be the third airport, right? So, I mean, again, even for us, we have been in that same sort of holding pattern where we've spent the last, over a decade spending all this money on the Gary airport. We're going to extend it. We're going to replace the tower. We're going to do the apron. Every year there's a new project, and the people that live there are just saying, well, when are we going to get to use it? Right. So it's sort of a funny thing. It's kind of the opposite for Gary, where they have the airport, they just don't get to use it. And it was sort of funny. I was saying earlier, if the Bear Stadium gets built, the Buffalo Bills will get to use the Gary airport more than the people from Gary. Right. But let's talk a little bit about that, because obviously that becomes part of the story. We've talked a lot, here in the last week about sort of just the politics of Chicago. And I know, Brian, I love that documentary, Lincoln is Crying, because it really, one of the things I was talking about is this sort of, there's this disconnect between the public and what's happening in politics, right? And it sort of, a lot of people don't pay attention until it comes to their neighborhood, right? And I mean, a lot of it becomes when it happens to you. So let's talk a little bit about the people. Who are the people that you met along the way? What are they going through? Just tell us a little bit about the people that are affected by this.
Certainly. So we we make sure that we kind of come at this from two sides of the coin. There's a group that's ardently opposed to the airport. It affects their life, their property. And then there's folks that really see this as an economic engine and kind of a real savior for the Southland, which has really struggled from a lot of, industrial losses over the years. It's not the Southland of the 1970s anymore. So we really kind of like to show that there are two sides to this coin, right? And we kind of do that through talking to four people. We talk to George Oxenfeld, who is the longtime leader of an anti-airport group called STAND, which is an acronym for Shut This Airport Nightmare Down. And they've really been, kind of the on-the-ground community organizing group opposed to the airport. And then we also talked to Judy Ogawa, who was a member of STAND, and kind of her you know, this issue became so important to her that she actually ran for office and is currently on the Will County, Illinois board and has served for, what was it, Brian? I think she's been now over a decade.
Yeah, like around 14 years or something like that. So
yeah, so it really spurred her to take, you know, real political action. And then on kind of the other side, on the pro-airport side, we follow John Ostenberg, who is the mayor of Park Forest, Illinois for quite a few years. And then Delmarie Cobb, who's a political strategist and analyst. And she's been supporting this project for a long time, seeing it as, you know, a possible way to reinvigorate the south side of Chicago and the south suburbs and beyond.
So what's going on right now? I mean, as far as this is one of those projects where we hear about it every once in a while. I mean, I was always under the impression that no homes or land were really taken. But I mean, I saw that clip of the homes being torn down. So I mean, like so far, what's sort of been the impact? I mean, have they bought a lot of properties? Or they like I know at some point they started buying properties and they sort of stopped. Again, sort of where are they at with the process?
Well, according to the South Suburban Airport, which is now what they're calling Bolt Field, which was we mentioned this in the film, which is a small airport that the state bought. They're at about 90% of the land needed to do the inaugural footprint. So that's happened over the course of, I believe, since 2002. They started demolishing homes that they had purchased, and these are sellers and all of that. But, you know, they've been invoking eminent domain. So by hook or by crook, they've been slowly acquiring the land needed to build this thing. So I personally feel it's a matter of when. But that's been the case for 40 years.
Well, so right. And I was going to say
saying when for a long, I mean, so will it happen? Maybe another 40 years from now?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. We don't know.
But also along the way, they've spent untold billions on O'Hare and Midway, right? I mean, that's the thing is O'Hare just finished a multi-billion-dollar project. You know, again, it's sort of like one of those things where if they wanted it to get done, it would have gotten done by now. And sort of that's always the curious thing is what's the holdup? But again, every time I see they're spending $2 billion more on O'Hare, it's like, well, are you really serious about the third airport, right? And it's the same thing we ask about Gary Airport. They kept saying, well, we're extending the runway. We're doing this, we're doing that. And, you know, at one point they promised like 5 airlines would come to Gary. That still hasn't come to fruition. So, I mean, for me, and, you know, Brian's known me a long time. One of my issues is always sort of like the idea of over-promising. I was joking about the Hammond Bears. You know, according to some people, we've already booked Taylor Swift coming to Hammond as soon as that stadium gets built. I mean, and that's sort of the thing is like, you know, you over-promise and then people sort of get their hopes up. And then at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, it's done and it didn't do what it was supposed to do. And Gary Airport's sort of an example of that, where you have, you know, all of the projects were done, but we still don't get to fly out of it, right? We get a lot of cargo out of there, but that's about the extent of it. So, Brian, here's what I want to ask you. I want you to juxtapose for me. So again, I loved Lincoln Was Crying. Is this, okay, put it this way. Is what's happening in Peatone because of the dysfunction of Illinois? Is it just another example of Illinois dysfunction, or is it just sort of it's complicated? I mean, let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, Tom, can I tell the story of how we came across Delmarie Cobb and how
Sure, yeah.
The connection on this. So Tom and I were doing A and B camera for Lincoln Is Crying, and John Davies, who's also executive producer on Holding Pattern, we were doing, you know, shooting for Lincoln Is Crying. And one of the first interviews we got was with Delmarie Cobb. And we knew a little bit about her and everything, but we didn't know, you know, the extent of her career and everything. And one of the first questions we ask is, what is the long-term effect? What is the real cost of corruption outside of dollars? And she says, well, you can't really do long-term projects like the South Suburban Airport, the Peatone Airport. And John turns around and looks at both of us because he knew Tom and I were doing Holding Pattern for, you know, the longest time. And he goes, did you set this up? He's like, no. This just happened to be a happy accident. So Delmarie went on to talk about it, how, you know, not having stable government does not allow you to have long-term projects. or it can severely hamper those kind of things. So the symbiosis with the films is that Delmarie Cobb is the connector on all that. But I mean, my thought is, if you don't have a real stable base, then you can't plan too far ahead down the road. Tom might have other opinions on that.
No, I think it is, I think we really see that, for lack of a better term, political dysfunction, has costs on individual lives, on either side of the issue, right? For those hoping for an airport or for those fighting against it, that if it, if there's no answer, it really becomes kind of a case study of, living with uncertainty. We really, the film does, I think, do a deep dive on kind of the real, personal impacts of this sort of uncertainty on somebody's life.
Well, and Tom, while you're here, I did want to mention, because so you did this other documentary called Walkable USA, where you talked mostly about Hammond, Indiana. So again, I'm not segueing. We're talking about dysfunctional government. Not trying to segue, because then they're going to say, oh, okay, Tom. So, I mean, what were your thoughts like with Walkable USA? To me, that plan, again, I'm a local guy right down the street from downtown Hammond. To me, that was sort of like, hey, we've got this idea, but what's it going to accomplish? And that's sort of a perfect example of, hey, we're going to completely tear up. I was just down there the other day. They're still not done tearing things up. It's like one of those things. We want to create, it's always an interesting thing to me, where it's sort of like, hey, we're going to spend $300 million making this neighborhood walkable, but there's nothing here. So, I mean, it's sort of that idea where for us, we always see these projects, and downtown Hammond's a perfect example of that. Like, what did you learn? What were your thoughts about that when you were there?
Certainly. And I think, really Walkable USA in a way is kind of a response to holding pattern, I think, to some extent, because I really feel, and this is very much, just kind of a personal point of view in terms of, regional planning and design. But I think it is very important that, I think Hammond in a way is kind of the opposite of the South Suburban Airport plan, where the South Suburban Airport plan is, here's the one thing that's going to drive development. Whereas I think the walkable plan for Hammond, while, it's expensive and it's ambitious, but it's also a lot of little things. It's, we're going to change the street design. We're going to rezone here. There's, the South Shore line is getting an extension. We're going to try to tie onto that. And it's not going to be immediate, but I do have hopes that it will ultimately show dividends. The bank building there, the old Calumet Bank building is now being leased out, and
the bonk, as we call it. Yeah.
The bonk. Yes. And it people do live there. And I think when this thing started, a lot of folks were like, who on earth would live in an apartment building right in downtown Hammond? There's a long way to go, but I think in a way they're two opposite sides of the spectrum of how to, spur regional development.
Right. No, absolutely. And again, it's sort of like one of those things, but, we're always going from one plan to another. I mean, the train's another example of that. The train sort of opened with big fanfare, and we'll go, okay, on to the next thing. Now we're talking about the Bears, you know what I mean? And we really, one of the things that, even like what you did with Walkable USA is this idea of going back. And I know there's like a lot of YouTubers that come to the region. They like going to Gary and going, oh, look, urban decay. But I mean, this idea that we kind of revisit these projects and go, okay, how's this going? How's it working out? But again, like Peatone's exact perfect, like you said, exact opposite, where it's like we're just in that holding pattern for 20 years, and you have that uncertainty of, am I losing my farm? Am I not? Are there going to be 777s flying over my house every 30 seconds for the rest? And again, it's hard. A lot of people are trying to plan their lives and plan their futures, and what am I going to do? Am I going to stay here? Am I not? I mean, and again, it's just it's an unfortunate thing. An eminent domain. I mean, again, I understand that it has its places, but we talked a lot about sort of the abuses of eminent domain. That's been a big issue for the last couple of decades, even went to the Supreme Court. So, I mean, again, it's like one of those, is a very complicated issue. And, at the end of the day, it's Illinois doing it, right? So, I mean, that's sort of the thing. It's like, yeah, we'll see how that works out. So let's go real quick. So you got Brian Cowley, Tom Desch. Just tell people real quick, let's reintroduce, tell them about the documentary, tell them where they can see it, all that good stuff.
So Holding Pattern is premiering, making its Chicago premiere on June 13th, this Saturday at 12:30 p.m. in the afternoon. at the Chicago History Museum. It's easy to get to, right off of Lakeshore Drive, North and Clark. And we're expecting a packed house. We're going to have a Q&A afterwards with, like Tom mentioned, Judy Ogala, who has been went from citizen to activist to politician over the past 20 years. And she's going to be talking about her efforts against the airport. And then we have Delmarie Cobb, who has been working on this. And she's actually the one who got Jesse Jackson Jr. on board, which was his big platform during his time as a congressman. And they're going to be on stage along with Tom and I, and it's going to be moderated by former Fox News Chicago reporter Mike Flannery, who also has known about this story for a very long time. So it should be a very lively discussion afterwards. But, you know, for me, I like these documentaries that we do. And again, it's a small team. You know, it was Tom and his pals, and then I came on and brought a few of my pals. And in the end, you know, it takes a village and a long time, but it should be a good discussion, and just want people to come out and see for themselves if they think this thing should be built or not.
So Brian, last time I saw you, I asked, when are you going to start shooting Lincoln is Crying Part 2? So I'm just going to pitch it right now. Lincoln is Crying Part 2, the story of losing the Bears. You guys, you guys come to Hammond whenever you're ready. We can start rolling tape tomorrow. Whenever you guys are ready, come to town. We'll start telling the story of losing the Bears.
I'm sure ESPN or Netflix or HBO has a crew on the ground, and they're doing it.
Hey, but you have one.
Bears.
You have one thing they don't have, my friend, and that's me. That's me and WJOB.
That's right.
We have the local radio station. You've got a home base here at the radio station. Plenty of productions facilities here. So, but okay, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Go ahead. One more thing. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add one more
ahead.
thing. The event is free, so
yes,
yeah, it's a free event, and it wouldn't be able to be accomplished without our supporters, which include the Captain Dave's Foundation, the Illinois Arts Council, the City of Chicago Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, and a whole myriad of other supporters who gave $10, $20, $100. I mean, it like Brian said, it truly was. It took a village, and we're greatly appreciative to everyone who allowed us to follow their lives or who supported us with either their time or their treasure.
But Tom, how does the state tax a free event? They can't tax it. Maybe they're going to tax it.
Well, you have to pay for parking.
Okay, there you go.
You have to pay for parking.
And a note, if you are coming to the event, the Green City Farmers Market is going on in Lincoln Park. So the main parking garage that the Chicago History Museum directs you to will probably be full. You might have better luck either taking public transportation or parking at the Piper's Alley garage.
Fantastic. Well, there you go. They'll get some money out of you. There we go. Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you guys so much.
Just to add one,
go ahead, Brian.
One thing. Captain Dave's Foundation got us all the way across the finish line, and our executive producers John Davies and Bob Bede were a big part in making that happen. So long time. You know, Lincoln is Crying, Heroes on Deck, City at War. John Davies and I have made a ton of films together, as has Tom and I. So this is all coalescing. This weird production group is all coalescing with Holding Pattern.
Okay, like I said, you're ready to go. Lincoln is Crying 2. We're ready whenever you guys are ready, come to town.
Lincoln is Crying 2, Cruise Control.
Cruise Control.
The story of the Scheiman Bears.
There you go. Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Can't wait to see it. You guys are doing great work. A lot of stuff ties back to the region, like Brian did Everglades of the North, Walkable USA.
As did Tom.
Tom worked on that, too. And Walkable USA about Hammond.
Wisniewski, which is associate producer on Holding Pattern, and Jeff Manis wrote Everglades as well. So we have, it's all, small teams.
A bunch of local guys doing cool things. I'm glad to see you guys keep moving forward on that. I've always said, Brian, I said when I first started doing radio, I said there's so many stories just in the region, but even like I said, the Chicago, there's so many stories that don't get picked up because we're the flyover state. The fact that, Heroes on Deck was such a great story. I love that. I love seeing that. You guys are just doing, there's so many stories out in the world, and especially like with Heroes on Deck, that generation not going to be around for much longer. And so, mean, the idea that we're rolling tape, we're getting these interviews now before it's too late. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Kudos to you for getting those stories, because again, that's, I mean, for me, that's the kind of stuff I love to see. When I sit down, I want to watch TV. That's the kind of stuff I want to hear a story. I want to be, I want to be informed, and I don't want to go see something about Kardashians and housewives. So I appreciate all the work you guys are doing.
Well, we appreciate you. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys take care. Appreciate it. Go ahead, and we'll be done with them. And I'm going to thank you guys for tuning in as well. We'll be back next week. We got all the crazy latest Bears news, all the latest news coming up for there. But tune in the rest of the week. I'm sure the other co-hosts and hosts will be talking about the Bears and everything going on there. So this is Summer of Chuck, or whatever we're calling it these days. Signing out. We'll see you next week.
For a fast and friendly car wash, go to Easy Clean Car Wash. Open 7 days a week in 4 convenient locations: Highland, Griffith, Cherville, and Lansing. Free vacuuming, air freshener, and a towel with every wash. It's fast, safe, and gentle. For more information and hours of all our locations, visit MyEasyClean.com. Also, see how you can wash your car daily with our $10 Ultimate Wash for only $19.99 per month. Give your car the best clean at Easy Clean Car Wash.
Do you like to work with your hands, creating something from nothing? Then think about Laborers Local 41. You'll get 432 hours of apprenticeship training, all while earning a wage with benefits and incurring no